Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids.
Hospital port as pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this reply to comments 120. So the 120th video in which I reply to your comments that you've left on my channel. And this case is YouTube only. You're watching the YouTube version right now, which you can see on all my platforms. I'm doing an Alt Tech Annex as well, which will only be available on Alt Tech. Now, the reason I do these comments is I don't have time to reply by text, but I feel obliged to reply. On a popular channel like mine, I get a lot of comments. The comments are sometimes very, very long. They're thought out. Some of them are giving me direct feedback, asking me direct questions, which in a sense it compels me to respond. As I said, though, with all my comments, I don't have time to reply, so I make these comments reply videos instead. And you may think it's not a very good way of replacing that, because it's not a very good replacement for just commenting by text, because these videos are very long and you only want to reply to one comment. You think, I'm not watching a 9-hour video to get a reply to one comment. Well, you don't have to, for two reasons. Firstly, I'll put a timestamp under the comment I'm replying to, telling you to within the nearest hour when I'm going to reply to your comments in the upcoming video. And secondly, my reply to comments videos are not 9 hours any longer. They're a lot shorter because I do them more often. Another reason to do these videos is I enjoy doing them. They're great fun. And you, the viewers, I think you enjoy watching them. I know a lot of you watch them all the way through. So yeah, that's another reason. Also, specifically mostly for YouTube, this counts, but it's also preserving a precious philosophical dialogue. I mean, Stefan Molyneux, when he got banned from YouTube, he's just been reinstated now, but when he was banned, he didn't know he was ever going to come back. And he said, I've lost all those comments. That it's not just the videos, it's the comments underneath, which are a dialogue, which is it could be a precious historical document, and they're gone. So, but doing a video like this means the comments are preserved, even if a video gets deleted, even if my channel gets yeeted, these comments are preserved in these videos, this series of videos, these 120 videos that I've done. Another thing you can do if you have that function on your browser, and I think they all do now with YouTube. This won't work on Alt Tech, but it certainly works with YouTube. Press Control F and it will give you a transcript of this particular video, and you can use keywords or your username to skip directly to my response. Okay, so that's how it works. So that being settled, let's go to the end of the previous cycle, the beginning of this new one, and see what people have been writing. And Rhiannon Raven kicks off on Oxford Graffiti 14 by says here, I can assure you that Oxford is nowhere near as disgusting as London. I believe you. I believe you, Rhiannon. As the previously reigning Lard King, I would not expect such anti-Fatberg rhetoric from you, Mr. Emlyn-Jones. Better a Fatberg than an organic Liberal Democrat duelled couscous avalanche. Yeah, I have to agree, yes. Oh, God, anything other than that. We're actually a Green-dominated council here. So the Green Party have a massive stranglehold over Oxford, which is why we're getting these stupid new, well, it'll be on the next reply to comments, the next Oxford Graffiti video, but they're putting in these stupid chicanes and ramps on all the little roads. It's costing, God knows how much money. Yeah, I was only Lard King for 1 year. If you watch my my videos, my reports onto the Weird Weekend North, you'll know that Ben Fiddler, the other Ben, he beat me 4 times out of 5. I've decided to retire from the lard eating competition, I'm afraid. So I'll explain more when I go to Weird Weekend North next. And I've already answered this particular comment. This was on Oxford Graffiti 14, where Paul Wills talks about building on the woodland. Yeah, I will. I mentioned the Stonehenge, and Paul Wills gives me a thumbs up, and he also says here to Red Ibex, that wouldn't surprise me, Red Ibex, which is talking about possibly building migrant hotels in various places. Oh, I think I've gone a bit too far. Yeah, I have. Oh, right. I've sorted them by newest. So what's going on here? Right, the comments seem to be out of order, which is a bit strange. I've got Professor Unwinmost. I haven't actually given him a comment. What's going on? I haven't given him a reply. Sorry, Professor. He says here this is on 3i Atlas Acceleration Livestream. What? That old fartload Professor Semolina Hollandich. I think that's the same guy that Steve Mumbling calls Professor Simon Hogwash. He's a gibbering, empty head bowl with nothing between the eardroves. All shriveled, crazy eyeballs, double speak it with his rear mouther buttertonium, and his pentalode all follop dangly there. De folly. I don't think that needs translation. I think those you have watched for long enough knows exactly what Professor is saying here. I mean, Simon Holland, I think he's amusing, but yeah, I don't know why he's. I mean, I don't go along with everything he said. Funny enough, there's another Professor has Unwinmost has another comment here that also I didn't see. It didn't appear. I don't know why this is going on because I've got them in newest first. Oh no, I did reply. Okay, I'm just checking. I don't want to miss any. So those are all replied to. There was one that I didn't see for some reason, and then there's the Anons, and then there's one I did reply to. I don't know because I put them newest first. They should be in order. Then there's that one I replied to. There's that one I replied to. Paul Wills is just giving me thumbs up. I don't know why those didn't appear in my feed, but there you go, in my notices. And Rhiannon's apparently was after those ones that I've already replied to. So she was before those, and I don't know why hers was before those. I could easily have missed it. I've got it on newest first. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, 3i Atlas changes course. And only Amiga 85, somebody who's really into old computers, says here, Brian Cox has the relevant qualifications to talk on the matter. You don't. Compared to him, you're the classroom dunce. Bullshit. He is qualified to talk about particle physics, which, yes, he knows more about that than I could ever learn in my life. I accept that. But Cox is never brought into the media to comment on particle physics. Hardly ever. Well, the only time he ever did that was his first appearance on BBC Horizon. That was on the centenary of Einstein and the theory of relativity. That was the only time he was ever brought on to talk about his own subject. Apart from that, all he comes in, they bring him in to talk about other things that he knows nothing about. They bring him in to talk about the moon landings and how it has to be real. And what's it? Oh, various conspiracy theories, the paranormal, ghosts, and how CERN has disproved ghosts. He's brought in to comment on everything he knows nothing about, only Amiga. And never anything he does. So no, he doesn't have relevant qualifications to talk on the matter of 3i Atlas. I do. Yeah, I know. I don't have shiny white teeth, and I don't have silky black hair, and I don't have a high, effeminate voice and a clean-shaven, fresh-faced, youthful look. I don't have that, all right? And he does. That's how he's qualified, and I'm not. Honestly, if you only Amiga 85, if you got yourself a Spectrum Plus, you'd know that. Funny if I've just seen another one, which I've replied to. I don't get it. I'm sorry. Look, if I don't reply to any of your comments, please, if I miss any of them, please just remind me. For some reason, my feed is now showing me. I've got them in order. I've got them newest first. I think maybe I should just go back and stick to most relevant first. I don't know. What's the best thing to do? Yeah, because now One String Puppet is replying to me. Oh, bloody hell. I'm going to go back to the old system, guys. I'm going to go back to most relevant and skip the newest first thing. So there we go. So I'm sorting by newest. It's obviously wrong. And now nothing's happening. It's kind of frozen up. Oh, yeah, okay. No, I'm just going to go back to the old system. There we go. Right, and then I'll go back to where I was before. All right, so maybe that'll make sense now. I don't know why. I think maybe, see, what's happening is when I click select newest first, I thought it would be better. I thought it would be easier, but it's actually making things more difficult. Honestly, if I miss a comment, please do tell me, because I don't want to miss any. I really don't want to miss any. So those are answered. That's answered. That's answered. Coxloader. He talks about Brian Coxloader. That's, of course, that is. Okay, that's Neil Peel. That's replied to. That's replied to. I think we're getting now to the point where there are no more. Hang on, there's this one here. This is annoying. I don't know if because I've now reset to the default. And I'm still getting this thing where there's comments I haven't seen, and that they've just been added after the last one, and I don't see them. Oh, all right. Anyway, I'll be very careful to these sorts of things. Okay, here we have Italia's Albion, who says here. This is on what pub? Oh, this is on Nothing Works Anymore. This is an old one. Thanks for posting your reply in the response video. Your reply was really good. You're welcome, Italia's Albion. Thanks for making me think, and thanks for putting so much thought into it. I live in America, although my maternal ancestors are from England. Yay! And I mourn the changes I've seen occur here, and I think that's what John Cleese and Richard Dawkins have done, and I think it's what you were doing in your video, Nothing Works Anymore, about the total loss of community pubs. Incidentally, I've seen YouTubers complain about the loss of community gathering spaces in America as well, not just since Corona, but I think we really do have a more difficult time getting along than we used to. I think that has a lot to do with loss of tolerance, and I think that has something to do with the loss of Christian culture, which all gave us all the basis for agreement, which is since crumbling. I think we've become insecure as a result and are more inclined to dominate each other rather than try to tolerate each other. I'm curious what you think about that. Well, I have to agree, Italia's Albion, I do. John Cleese and Richard Dawkins are right. In fact, I've just been watching a podcast of the Lotus Eaters. I don't know if you're familiar with Sargon of Akkad. I expect you are, actually, because of what you're saying here. He's just saying how a lot of British people are now fleeing the country, and they're going. It's really strange, but a lot of them are going exactly to where the countries that used to flee to us, that is Eastern Europe. During the Cold War, people from that country, they were desperately trying to flee to the West, to our country. This is why the Iron Curtain was created, the Berlin Wall. I mean, goodness me. Lots of countries have built walls to keep an enemy out. Very big walls, very long walls, like Hadrian's Wall. The Great Wall of China. These walls were created to keep an enemy out. Germany alone built a wall to keep its own people in. And now it's the opposite is happening. I think Starmer's going to have to build a wall across the English Channel. Oh, it'll let the small boats, there'll be a little gate for the small boats to go through. They'll be fine. But to stop we Brits escaping. Yeah, but what you say is true in every way. And I'm not a Christian, but I wouldn't call myself an atheist either, and I accept that Christian culture has been an enormous foundation on which huge structures of social cohesion and function have been built, especially in your country, in the United States, but also in mine to an extent, definitely. When I was in the US, I found, my experience in the US was different because I was only there I've been 3 times for a couple of weeks, and I was going to conferences, woo-woo conferences, and it's different. But thanks for anyone for getting in touch. I can't really add anything to what you've said, except that's absolutely true. It really is. Okay, I'm glad I didn't miss your comment, Italia's Albion. I really am, because that was a good comment. I'm really getting paranoid now. I'm scrolling down. Okay, that's... Okay, I'm just going to keep going up, and now when I come to an empty one without a tag on it, I'll know I've reached a point where people are actually commenting, and I need to put a comment in, which I didn't, for some reason, didn't show up before, and now I can see it. So I've replied to Steve Mumbling there, replied to DJ B2 there, and that thread. Okay, One String Puppet has now also added 2 comments to this. Now, good old One String Puppet. All right, that's because I know why this is. It's not because of any fault on YouTube. It's because I put a text comment into him. And One String Puppet says, this is about James, the pipe man. Crazy how viral it's gone. I did a reply to this already, but again, I can't see my comment again, lol. it has put my email address here and told you you can email me for more info, as I've been following the whole James thing very closely and lots of other people's channels who have covered it. Did you see any of Josh from Polarity stream today? And then he carries on here. Maybe you can see it, but yup, I helped out Patrick with his last video on the James thing, but he didn't use much of the info that I provided him, actually. Yeah, this was because, as I mentioned on the live stream, James gave Patrick from Vetted, he gave One String Puppet a shout out because he's been studying the James thing. I offered the same thing to you and responded to your comments saying you were doing an update. Right, yeah, I've only just seen it, I'm afraid, One String Puppet, but you were there in the live stream. Okay, here we go. I left my email address and said get in touch and offered to have a quick phone call just to give you a rundown of what I found out, but then it seemed to vanish again. Maybe because I put an email in it. Always, I just wanted to know I offered to help. Yeah, you know, One String Puppet, I appreciate that, I really do. And I didn't see it. I've literally just checked my spam folder and it's not there. But look, I have a public email, all right? You can find it it's on my channel, I think. I have a public email. It's certainly on the HPANWO TV blog. So it'd be good to get in touch with you another way, but do let me know. But yeah, I mean, you did put a list of all the things you've gathered about James, and you make some really good points. I'm not as convinced. Well, I wasn't as convinced as you that he was putting it on. Now, obviously, I'm more convinced now that he is putting it on. I mean, you're probably 100% sure, and I'm not. But I'm probably. I mean, I've gone from about 70% sure to 90% sure that this is a hoax. But as I've said before, I don't automatically accept hoaxes as read. I don't automatically accept that a hoax has to be real. It has to be a hoax confession is generally a genuine one. Oh, he carries on. Another topic. I previously asked if you had a YouTube channel Discord server, so it's easier to communicate if needed. Also, are you going to attend the next Dorset Earth Mysteries tour? Crop Circle should be interesting. Right. Yes, I have a YouTube Discord server. I'll tell you what, I'll just write my email here. I'm not going to the next Dorset Earth. Email me here. I'm just going to put my there we go, 74@gmx.co.uk. That's my public email. Anyone could use it. There we go. Hopefully, there we are. Hopefully that won't disappear now I've got an email in it, okay? But it's annoying when that happens. It's Benny J, BENNYJ, NYJAY74@gmx.co.uk. That's my email. It's on the HPANWO TV blog, even if I hadn't put it on my about page. But thanks, One String Puppet. I really appreciate your contribution to this subject. You've been very enlightening. And now we have Daniel Bostock. Oh, hang on, I've replied to this, haven't I? Show more replies. Yeah, I did a reply to that. Yeah. Oh, right. Neil says, what about the so-called firmament? That's a reply to one of the others. Let me just see what he means. This is a thread started by Daniel Bostock, of all people. Someone he's a cool friend of mine who I've not really kind of like had much to do with lately, just because he's been doing his own thing. We haven't fallen out or anything. He's just sort of drifted off to do his own thing. It seems he's changed his mind considerably since I last saw him. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, you know, as you know, I don't get angry with people unless because their conduct, not their opinions. But Neil's asking about the firmament. I suspect that this person is a flat earther. Yeah. And Oni Amiga is there too, a guy who's made a very, as a young person, made a very, very bad choice in home computers. There you go. 3i Atlas changes course. Over the Moon says here. Oh, I've answered that. That's another one I've answered. And I've answered that, and I've answered that. And I'm coming across all kinds of things I've seen before. Okay. Red Ibex says 621. It's a timestamp on Oxford Graffiti 14. What's that? Okay.
19 LUFC again. I assume that means for Leeds.
Yes, this makes sense. Red Ibex says 1919 was the year that Leeds United FC was formed. Right, because I saw a sign saying LUFC 1919. I wonder what that meant. But if you're a Leeds fan, you'll know that that's when that club was formed. Right. Thanks, Fred Ibex. Obviously, there was some. Maybe they were playing Oxford United or something, and they decided to scrawl some dissident graffiti while they were here. Football fans often do that sort of thing. Okay, I've answered that one. Oxford Graffiti 14 Sorenable gives me two smiley faces. Thanks, Sorenable. Much appreciated. And thanks for joining the live stream earlier. All right, and then there's... Oh, I've seen that one. Okay, and that one. I'm getting a load I've replied to now. All right. 119. Reply to comments 119. David Smith, who says here, Ben, you forgot who Ray Mears was. I should have said Bear Grylls, but Ray is much better, in my opinion. Right, yeah, I mean, if you'd said Bear Grylls, I would have remembered because he's more memorable, probably because of his unusual name. But they're both very similar people, kind of outdoorsman type people who, like, they teach survival tactics, hunting, fishing, that kind of thing, and camping out, stuff like that. And Rhiannon Raven says underneath, Bear Grylls and his brother Wolf Stir Fry. Oh, God. Oh, dear. Oh, God, that's the kind of... Rhiannon, you don't get drunk. That's the kind of joke I would come up with if I was like, it was like 11:30 at the social club and I was on my third pint after a 2 to 10. Oh dear, Wolf Stir Fry. Yeah, that's like a joke I made about when I was on the HPANWO show and I played that Toccata and Fugue by Johann Sebastian Bach, and I said, he's the son of Johann Sebastian Maur. Oh, and only Rhiannon got that joke. Nice one, Rhiannon. Reply to comments 119 YouTube. And David Smith. David Smith. He's back. In fact, that was him. Oh, that was him asking about Bear Grylls. Yeah, as well. The claim that otherworldly life has been coming here, but it's not been demonstrated or proven. There isn't even any good evidence for it, unfortunately. It's all just claims. Claims are not evidence. Oh, right. It's this like David. That is a kind of that's the equivalent of kind of saying the debate equivalent of saying, "Do you want a glass of water?" And I'll say yes, and he suddenly goes boom and opens like these floodgates. Because I don't agree with you in so many ways that I could just list them and spend 5 hours just listing them. And then only Amiga says here, these people will believe any ET story because it's more interesting than their daily lives. It's like a religion to them. Just look at the Linda Moulton Howe cult. Oh my goodness me. Have you been watching Stephen Cambion, Only Amiga? The Linda Moulton Howe cult. That's rhetoric. I mean, that's saying, well, that's not. You see, I could say, well, these people will believe that 2 + 2 = 4 because it's more interesting than their daily lives. It's like a religion to them. Just look at the maths teacher cult, right? If I said that to you, right, would that mean that 2 + 2 = 5? Because if not, why not? That's what that is just basically it's just a slur against the people who believe believe that extraterrestrial life is coming here and it has been demonstrated and proven. That's what it is. As for Linda Moulton Howe, I don't agree with everything Linda says and does, but I don't agree with Cambion or the people who say she's dishonest and she's scamming and grifting and all these sorts of things. I think she's a sincere person. She's been doing this I started watching her like when I was like when I first got into UFOs, like in the 90s. I was watching her. I mean, I've seen videos of she made in the late 70s about UFOs. Right. And they say it's like a religion to them, but you see, right now, only Amiga, it's actually the other way around. The people who are now denying that the UFO phenomenon is proof of non-human intelligence, they're the people who are starting to sound like the cultists. They're the people who start, people like Mick West, and they're getting so desperate. They're the ones who now, and Cox. I mean, well, Cox is too stupid to know any better, but Mick West is firstly, he's personally quite reasonable and not dislikable. But he's now really clutching at straws. I mean, when he starts saying, "Oh, it's a reflection in this cockpit canopy," or "It's a lighthouse," "It's a truckload of burning manure." Do you see this? This is literally the clown's day off fallacy. Yeah, I was saying, if you had a Spectrum Plus instead of, you'd know that. You know, I know people slag off Clive Sinclair, but he built the best home computer in the world. Alan McBride said, "No proof, really. How would one demonstrate such a liminal phenomenon to your satisfaction?" And Only Amiga says, "In the same event would be varied by multiple credible people, not ET chasers who've already made up their minds to believe in the UFO religion." All right. Well, you see, the first criteria, the criteria you actually say before you dive back into the rhetoric swamp, has actually been fulfilled. Your condition has been fulfilled. Are you going to raise the bar again? And David Smith has to chime in, of course. "Not my problem. You can say we can't prove it because it's difficult. If you believe it, you prove it. That's how reality works for literally everything except your special pleading case for aliens and the paranormal. It's your job to prove that what you believe is true. That has been called rational. It's not the job of someone who doesn't believe to prove you're wrong. This is called shifting the burden of proof." Right, David, have you seen my skeptic talk? Because you'll know that counts up to a point, but it's once that can go to that, you are partly right. If I say there's, well, to use a cliche, if I say there's a pink unicorn in my top pocket, right? It is certainly the burden of proof is on me to prove that unicorn exists. If I can't, then no one has to prove that unicorn doesn't exist. Otherwise, the unicorn does exist by default. I know that. You're right about that. But the problem is, you and many other skeptics are you're taking that principle and you're running with it far to the point where it completely exceeds its value as a rational methodology of inquiry. By that, I mean to the point where I will say something like, well, if you say, for example, that when hundreds of trained US Air Force security police see something strange in the woods, then it's a truckload of and then you say, well, it's a truckload of burning manure and it's your job, it's my job, therefore. It's the people who believe those security police. It's the people who believe that it's aliens. Then it's their job to prove that it's not aliens. It's their job to prove that it's aliens. And there's no burden of proof on you to say that it was a truckload of burning manure, even though you commit the clown's day off fallacy, and you don't actually explain what manure, what truck, what burning manure. How do you know? Where did it come from? Can you show us this truck? Can you show the burn marks on it, etc., etc.? You see, once you do that, once you commit that clown's day off fallacy, it is the burden of proof is on you. The whole issue has been completely overbalanced. When someone says, "Oh, I saw Loch Ness and the Loch Ness monster," right, and you say, "No, it was a clown with a day off from the circus," do you understand? You yourself have a burden of proof, even though you are the one pleading, or you are special. It's in a sense, this is a special pleading case for normality and non-alien, not aliens and paranormal. That is being rational. So in the case of the modern ufology, I think well, it's not quite as extreme as the examples I gave, but I think the burden of proof now is on you. So I don't agree with you, or I do agree with Alan McBride on this. And David Smith says underneath, even credible people can be fooled. It would certainly be a good start. Well, yeah, anyone could be fooled, David, but that includes skeptics. It does. Excellent comments, guys. It's a good thread, actually. Thank you, all of you, for those comments. Right, reply to comments 119 first says, the WOW signal, 6CQUJ5. Yes. Damn, says Red Ipex. Oh, dear. Ray, you're slacking, mate. You're slacking. Never mind, you get silver. Actually, come to think of it, This is why everything's out of order on my feed now, because as you know, I've already been answering questions on reply to comments 119. Yeah. Wow Signal says, are grey aliens and Japanese people related? They have a very similar facial structure. Red Ibex. That's racist. Oh, for goodness sake. Red Ibex, I think you're being ironic, aren't you? Because, you know, of course, it's not racist to ask that question. You know, this is what people say about Lenval Logan, because Lenval people who said that Lenval Logan looks like an alien say, well, you're just being racist. Well, firstly, it's not because of what the color of his skin that's an issue, and secondly, you know, it's not insulting. It doesn't mean he's ugly or anything. I don't think he's ugly. He's unique, has a unique facial structure, but there's nothing wrong, considering his current interests, there's nothing wrong with saying, well, is Lenval Logan possibly a hybrid? I said that, and I got really attacked when I said that I thought Lenval Logan might be a hybrid because of his appearance. And now we have Red Ibex. Oh, we have DJ B2. Oh, no, sorry. Reply points. I thought that was a thread. And Red Ibex says here, yes, 1919 was the year Leeds United FC was formed. Yeah, right. Reply to comments. Oh, right. Oxford Graffiti 14. Here we go. This is Red Ibex here on a timestamp.
I cleared the tunnel from Christchurch a little more, not to be missed. Oh, right. I suppose you guys want me to go and do a HPANWO.
Oh, right. That was the bar hail. The people who were unblocking the drain, as you know from this series, they were doing like a presentation up in Iffley, Oxford, and there was a public meeting, and I said, could I go along and review it? I didn't go, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Sorry, Red Ibex. And then we have here, then we have timestamp. I think this is when I met the police in reply to comments 14. Yeah, there's a timestamp here.
This way anyway, and they said,
I can see how you shy away from auditing, Ben. You seem very nervous around police. Red Ibex, do you know anyone who's not nervous around the police, especially nowadays? Especially nowadays. I mean, look, it could be, you know, if I'd lived maybe 40 or 50 years ago, or I'd been an adult 40 or 50 years ago, I was alive, but you know what I mean. And the police were literally there to keep law and order and to protect the public, etc., etc. I might feel more comfortable talking to a police officer. But today, and it doesn't matter what country you're in, I think this is pretty much across the world, I just get scared when the police want to talk to me, because they're not there. I know they're not there to protect me. I know they're there to get as many convictions as possible. And when they want to come up to you now, it's not because they, 99 times out of 100, it's not because they have your best interests at heart or anything like that. It's usually because they want they want to try and get something out of you in terms of something legally about you. So yeah, I am worried. I do get nervous when the police approach me, definitely. In fact, this is what people in a tyrannical society get like, the reason, for example, Jean-Charles de Menezes, this Brazilian guy in London, people often he was the guy who was killed by the police. He was shot dead by the police on the London Underground because he ran and bolted, and they found him and shot him. They thought he might be carrying a bomb. People said, well, they just asked him to stop. Why didn't he stop and speak to them? The answer is because in Brazil, you never do. In Brazil, if the police tell you to stop, you bolt, you run. Because there's so much corruption in Brazil that if you ask to be, they will literally take you behind a parked car, shoot you, and then your death certificate will read, he had a heart attack. So that's why he ran. Reply to comments 119, DJ B2, who said here, Ben, the source of the information about Avi Loeb being a WEF agenda contributor is in the WEF's official website. Oh, really? Okay, well, let's have a look, shall we? Let's just check that out. I'll tell you what, I'll use that. Shall I just go to Google AI again? Shall I do that? Yeah. What's it say here? Okay, is Avi Loeb a contributor to the World Economic Forum? Let's have a look. Yes, Avi Loeb is an agenda contributor to the World Economic Forum. The website lists him under the name Abraham Loeb, agenda contributor. Right, overview of his WEF contributions. As agenda contributor, Loeb provides expert insight and commentary on science and technology topics for the forum's online platform. He's listed as Professor of Science and Chair of the Astronomy Department at Harvard University. Yeah, his contributors are likely to relate to his professional expertise in astrophysics, cosmology, and the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. The WEF frequently collaborates on a wide range of experts, academics, and business leaders to provide diverse perspectives on global issues. Right. Okay, well, there you go. So you're right, actually, there, DJB2. Now, does that mean, I mean, I'm not sure, what is your point, therefore, that we should be suspicious of Avi as a result of this and think that maybe his current work on 3i Atlas might be a part of some kind of World Economic Forum attempt to bring in Project Bluebeam? I suspect, I don't think that can be ruled out. However, what I know about Avi's past, his work with the Muamua and his work with the search on the seabed for those little bits that he found, it doesn't fit with the profile of someone who was kind of like involved in skullduggery. I mean, the latest Y-Files episode, luckily, has just covered this, the Y-Files. Here we go. Who watches the Y-Files? I think I mentioned I'm actually a Y-Files subscriber because I think they're so good. Where is it? Here we go. This is really one of my favorite channels. There we go. It's for psyops, from dead babies to UFOs, the same pattern every time. Watch that video. I mean, I watch it on Patreon, so I got to see it earlier. But it's available for free on here on YouTube, so check that out. His behaviour doesn't fit in with that profile. His work on his previous work. So I'm not. If your point is that we should reject Avi and shun him because he's had any connection, he has, even one single point of separation from the WEF, I don't think is a good enough reason to do it. You might disagree. But until something more incriminating comes to pass, I am going to listen to what he says about astrophysics and aliens with interest. Now, I'm the first. I said actually in my videos covering the subject, I don't think we should discount the Project Bluebeam possibility here, but we shouldn't accept it or assume it's going to be real either. All right, Red Ibex, 4750 timestamp on 119. What's he say here? Do you wish Star Trek Phase 2 was not cancelled after the pilot? Would you support a reboot? Would you support a restart with the same cast but CGI? All right, this is about I didn't know what he was talking about because all I knew about was Star Trek was, of course, there's the original series, which I think ended in it's ended in '69, I think, the original series. And then, of course, 10 years later, there was the motion picture. But it says here there was a Star Trek Phase 2 that was going to be brought out. This is another season, and it was supposed to be in 1977, and it was supposed to be the return of Captain Kirk, but they cancelled after the Star Trek movies started doing well. So what do you think? I think I'd be curious to see it, Red Ibex. I mean, no doubt someone has produced some kind of CGI mock-up of it. I mean, all you need is the script and the production design, and then you can actually recreate these things. Well, not recreate them, but create a facsimile that's probably quite accurate to what they were before. I mean, the missing Doctor Who episodes, especially from the Patrick Troughton era, have actually been resurrected, or there's animated versions have been created simply through the script and production design records from the BBC. So I would have been curious to see. Obviously, it never happened, but yeah, I would like to have seen that. And I would be curious to see the mock-ups. Oxford Graffiti 14. Well, Wow Signal says, "Long live HPANWO." Thank you very much. Yay, nice one. That's a good comment. That is. 119. Jeff Hindley says here, all right. Thank you for addressing my negativity. I won't comment ever again after alcohol-based drinks. Maybe I was triggered by the AI music. Any negativity on your channel is outweighed by the positives. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Jeff. Look, don't worry. I mean, I myself try. I mean, I've sort of stopped drinking. I'm still on my detox. I'm drinking a lot less these days. But I do try to avoid social media when I've had too much. You're not the only one. And of course, Hugo Rune is, well, Hugo's, he's kind of like, he's being a little bit kind of like standoffish at the moment. As I said, I've had a few interactions with him that are quite unpleasant, and I don't want to go into detail, but I don't understand his correspondence. I'll say that much. But he is taking some time off the channel, certainly, maybe permanently. But you know, when he often posts when he's had a few spliffs, which is most of the time. Yeah. Definitely, but yeah, no worries. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks very much. Atlas Dialogues. All right, this is a person with a really cool channel. Talking about 3i Atlas, who says here, "Dear Ben the JR Porter, I've been so busy these past few days, I haven't had time to catch up with your channel. Sorry about that. I'll be back soon and to watch and comment." Oh, cheers, Atlas Dialogues. I've really been enjoying your channel too. I haven't watched your videos for a couple of weeks now, because I've been away doing other things. But obviously, the 3i Atlas subject is still in my head very, very much. Alan McBride says on 119, thanks, Ben. You're welcome, Alan McBride. You're very welcome. And we have Paul Wills on 119. Cheers, Ben. Another great reply to comments. You're welcome, Paul Wills. You're very welcome. Hope you like that. David Splendid Isolation says here on reply to comments 119. Ben, would you ever allow a man in black into your home, even if he identifies himself as a police with requisite ID? That's a tricky question, David, because if he had the proper ID and everything and proper uniform, or say he was a detective dressed in black, it's difficult to know how I would know there was something odd about him, because the men in black often are quite accurately humanoid. At the same time, though, the presence of the men in black actually cause what Jenny Randalls calls the Oz factor, which means you actually start thinking and feeling differently in their presence than you would normally. So they have the ability to sort of like mess with your head, a bit like the black-eyed children, which I think are related to the MIB. Which means essentially a lot of people let them in, and it's only after the men in black have gone they think to themselves, hang on a minute, why did I do that? That kind of thing. So the answer is I don't know. It's the kind of thing I think you would have to experience really to know, David. 119. 40 yards, 1397 says here. Oh, that's an interesting name. Like John Hopkins, D. Reams Brian Cox also made a comet in his spare time, combining a Poundland sparkler and some funky mushrooms in his garden. He reportedly said the results were vast and wow. Oh, did he? All right. I think the only funky mushrooms we're talking about here are probably the ones he's probably taken. No, he doesn't do that sort of thing. I didn't know that, but Brian Cox made a comment as well, like John Hopkins. Yeah, because of course we were talking about how John Hopkins University actually did create an artificial comet just to demonstrate how they were made. That turned out to be true. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But anyway, that's interesting. If you've got any details, I'd like to know them. But 40 yards also says here on 919. What's your favourite Harry Potter book and movie, Ben? I wasn't ever into it until our children came along and got me hooked. A lot of occult references and tells in these books and films, isn't there? Very much so, yeah. I mean, the favourite book, and probably the first one. As I said, I was reading them to my daughter as bedtime stories when she was little. By the time we got onto the Prisoner of Azkaban, she was kind of growing out of it and didn't want bedtime stories anymore. So I think probably the first one. That is the Philosopher's Stone. I remember that being particularly good, both the movie and the book. I've actually only I've read, like, somebody read 3 of the books, and I think I've only ever seen 2 of the movies. What are they called? Harry Potter books. Who want Harry Potter series? Right. Let's have a look. It consists of 7 fantasy novels by J.K. Rowling. Yeah, The Chamber of Secrets I saw. The Prisoner of Azkaban. Right, yeah, The Goblet of Fire I never read and never saw. Right, yeah, I never saw those. So I think it's, and I never saw the movie of The Prisoner of Azkaban either. So it has to be the first one, which, bearing in mind I haven't read or seen any of them after the 3rd installment. Right. And we have here Steve Mumbling. Steve Mumbling is back. How are we doing for time? Oh, not bad. And Steve Mumbling says here on 119, we haven't been wiped out by aliens. Always is a long one. Because no aliens have ever been here. It's all science fiction rubbish. They would have absolutely nothing to gain by coming here and meeting us. We could teach them nothing, and they would have to be the dumbest aliens in the galaxy to teach us how to travel between the stars. They aren't going to teach us how to get them and potentially destroy them. If they really do come here, it'll be the end of us. The only thing we have they could possibly be interested in is the planet. 3i Atlas is very obviously a rock. Thank goodness. Put a line through the angry astronaut. He has about as much credibility as yourself, and hogwash the fake professor. All right. Right, so thing is, do you assume that if aliens ever came here, they would automatically wipe us out? Do we know that? If we went to another planet, would we? And we humans, have a natural aggression to ourselves. We've committed terrible acts of evil as a result of our aggression on Earth. Yeah, we know we care for other planets. We even deorbit spacecraft into gas giants to prevent them possibly infecting the moons of these gas giants with our own bacteria or our own plutonium waste from the plutonium fuel cells. So that we do have the ability to be caring as well. Now, I don't assume that the aliens are all wonderful, enlightened beings like old Dr. Testosterone supplements, but at the same time, I don't assume the opposite either. So, what couldn't we teach? Well, we may be able to teach them something. I mean, if you mean by teach, you mean we could teach them like new things about the workings of the universe? Probably not. But I mean, in that sense, gorillas in the jungle can't teach us anything in that way either. Yet they have taught us. They've taught us about themselves. They've taught us a lot about the animal kingdom. When David Attenborough goes into the jungle to study them, or Jane Goodall, she just died actually. She was a friend of Michael Shermer. She spent her life in the jungle studying the chimps. In all that time, she probably didn't have an intellectual conversation with any of them. But they taught her, and as a result, humanity, an awful lot about themselves. And as a result, that knowledge could be applied to other subjects. Because, evolution is like the classics. It's kind of like, it's almost like a key to unlocking other things. And they would have to be the dumbest aliens in the galaxy to teach us how to travel between the stars. I don't understand that bit. Why would they have to be dumb to teach us how to travel between the stars? Wouldn't it be the other way around? They aren't. Oh, I see. Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry, I misunderstood your point. Because they aren't going to teach us how to get them and potentially destroy us. So by them teaching us how to travel in interstellar form, they would then risk us traveling to their planets and destroying them. Well, maybe, when you see things like, the Blitz and Hiroshima and various famines and things like that, and all the other evils that we've done, maybe that's understandable. Maybe they don't want to teach us how to do that. I mean, we may learn from them anyway, simply because when they crash, we gather their wreckage and we can learn from that. So they may not have a choice in the matter. So I think they may be interested. They may be interested in us in the way that Jane Goodall was interested in the chimps. Biologists all over the world go to various places to study the animals. So I think they may be interested in this in that respect. Three-Eye Atlas is not a rock. And I was explained why in the videos. Also, it's funny you've now turned against, like Hogwash or Simon Holland. You're now calling him Hogwash. You now have turned against the Angry Astronaut, and it's very interesting because the Angry Astronaut used to be 100%. He is still 100% on your side regarding the moon landings. Now he's changed his opinion. You put a line through him, just like you did Simon Holland. So it appears like your loyalties and your admiration is very dependent on people staying within a very, very narrow, a rather narrow channel of opinion, Steve. German Mad says, you're right. Ben believes a comet is a UFO. Whoa, it's hogwash. The professor guy thinks he's funny and clever, but he's a sad joke. Oh, right. Well, German Mad, Ben believes a comet is a UFO. Well, you're right about that. I do. I don't think it's a comet. Okay. So I'm not going to correct you there because that's actually true. It's not hogwash. As for Simon Holland, I don't agree with most of what he says. I think, and also I question his honesty. I think he may be trying to. I think he's clever enough to see the writing on the wall and is trying to bury his past as a complete skeptic. I think he's a very political man in that respect. But he's not the only skeptic doing that, I should point out. But I don't have as low opinion of him as you and Steve do. And Steve Mumbling says to German Mad, the fake professor has absolutely no idea when it comes to physics or technology. He doesn't make science films. He makes science fiction films. Well, actually, he actually worked on the Smiley's people. Who remembers this? This was very good, actually. This was an adaptation of, I think it's a book by John le Carré. That's what I was going to say, Frederick Forsyth, John le Carré. There has been a I should point out that there has been a movie made of this more recently, which is not as good. This is really good. Alec Guinness is in this, and he plays the spy catcher, George Smiley. He's in charge of internal security at MI6. And it's somewhere, now I know Holland is in the titles because he worked on this, Holland. This is back in, when was it, 1982. Smiley's people. Let's have a look. Cast and crew. Here we are, cast and crew. There we go. Where is it? Stars. Let's just have a look. You should see all cast. This is very good. If you've not seen it, if you like sort of spy dramas and thrillers, get out of the way. I don't want your bloody. Oh, that KFC are now. They've got like a special Stranger Things burger. Cast. It's got huge. It's got a bit of a. It's got loads here. Producer, composer, cinematographer, editors. Somewhere is Simon Holland. I've seen it because I've got the DVD of this and I saw his name. Where is he? Location management, music. Where is he? Oh, he's here somewhere. He's not on IMDb. Okay, on the DVD, his name appears. Red Ibex, Sister German Mad. You were very rude to Rhiannon. Ben could have blocked you. He was, wasn't he? What did you say to her? It was you. I think you said something insulting about her music. I think you should apologise, German Mad. You should apologise. Well, I'm not going to white knight for Rhiannon, all right, because I can't remember exactly what she said, what you said. But I think you should apologise. I mean, it was something about her music I didn't like. Anyway, yeah, 119. Red Ibex. If you were offered a salaried role at the 14 Times, would you take it? then they would have control over you, of course. I would take the job, yes, on certain conditions. Would be firstly, like it wouldn't be full time. It couldn't be full time. So I'd have a column like I could do for UFO Truth, which I mean, which I don't get paid for that, but I don't expect to be. I mean, a magazine has to be very, very broad circulation before they start paying the contributors. I would offer my role as a columnist, maybe even as a staff writer, if I could, like, if it weren't full time, like I'd do like an article for them a month or something like that. I'd do that. I have actually done that before. When I was doing my articles for the scripts for the Zohar, before they kind of like went strange and split up, they did pay me for the scripts for the videos. Red Ibex says here, that's on 119 then. If you were freed as a slave in ancient Rome, what would you do? Stay close to your patron or travel to your hometown and risk illegal re-enslavement? Many stayed close to their patrons for security, and historical accounts highlight the anxiety around false enslavement in the empire. Right. I know that, like, a lot of in all societies where slavery is abolished, this often happens. The people still remain with their master. They just have a different relationship. They become employees rather than slaves. Very often, there's no immediate change. It's more kind of, it's just a change of legal relationship. I mean, this happened on St. Helena when, as you know, I've been studying the island of St. Helena very closely. When slavery was abolished on St. Helena, the people just stayed where they were. I mean, it's got a lot to do with geography because it's a very small island, but also because that they were very often, the rule was that when they abolished slavery was that the actual existing slaves would not be freed, but any children they had would be born as free citizens. But those children, therefore, were free citizens being brought up by slave parents. As a result, they grew up in that kind of society, and they tended that habit kind of tended to stick. So yeah, that's right. I mean, I mean, black people in the United States, for example, are descended from slaves, but they tend to have surnames very much like anyone else because their ancestors would take the surname of their master when they were emancipated, especially if the master had been like reasonably good to them, because they didn't have a legal status to have a surname in their own life, so they just adopted their masters, whether they chose to stay with that person or not and continue to work for them as free or not. Right, yeah, oh, right, yes, there's a timestamp here, but I know what you're talking about. The Brian Rue show. Yeah, I'd love to go with Brian Rue. Brian Rue is actually suggested a meetup. He says he suggested what was it? I'm just going to look this up. I think it's actually a, yeah, it is actually it's called the Age of Disclosure meetup. What was it exactly he was doing? Let's have a look. No, I can't see it now. But I like his commentary actually. He's a bit weird. He talks about Buddhism and stuff like that. Been quite different, quite a lot live. Okay, I don't know. He said somewhere, I think it was on BitChute, he put up something saying advertising a meetup. Now it's probably in Canada where he lives, so I can't get to it. But yeah, that'll be good. Okay, that'll be good if he does that, definitely. I'm nearly through with an hour now, so nearly on to hour 2. Red Ibex on 119 did quantum Bigfoot relate to the actual Bigfoot? I don't know. I think what we're going to have to do, Red Ibex, is maybe bring that up when I do the Voices in the Wilderness read party. So if you stick around for that, that'll be coming in the next couple of months. 119. David Splendid Isolation says, I'm currently reading If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. Yeah, this is a book by this guy called, I forgot his name, but he was mentioned in 40 Times. And it's about AI. I just got to get his name now because he's got an unusual name. Here we are, Eliezer Yudovsky, that's him. Eliezer Yudovsky, because I think that's how you pronounce his name. Eliezer Yudovsky. He's like an American artificial intelligence researcher. Yeah. He's kind of a doom and gloom monger for this sort of thing, but maybe he's right. And David says it's very thought-provoking and enlightening and logical while not being terribly scaremongering. Oh, good. Maybe he's not that much so. These men know what they're talking about, and without alignment, basically humanity's probably screwed should AI continue. Well, I think there is risks with AI, and I've done an entire video on that. It's called "Should We Accept Our AI Overlords?" Anyway, that is the end of an hour, guys. So I'm back with hour number 2 very soon. Okay, guys, we're off with hour number 2 now of this reply to comments video, number 120, and we go straight on to reply to comments 119, and it's Red Ibex who says here, right, there's a timestamp, but I know what it's about. It's when I talk about the lingua franca of the South African mines. And he says here, Fanagalore is likely a misspelling of Fanakalo, a simplified pidgin language that developed in the South African mining industry to facilitate communication between workers from different linguistic backgrounds. It's primarily based on the Zulu language with influences from English and Afrikaans, and it originated to serve as a lingua franca for miners and foremen. Oh, thanks. Thanks for the information. And he says here, there's a bit more here. Fanagalore is a pidgin language, primarily based. It's the same videos with contribution from English and Afrikaans. Right, and he carries on saying the same thing. Developed in South Africa's 19th century mining industry, lingua franca, common language, communication. Fanagalore was also known by names such as Chilapalaga in Zimbabwe and Chikabanga in Zambia. Right. So, Red Ibex, did you have a problem posting the comment? Because you've written essentially the same comment twice in slightly different wording. Slightly different wording, but are you actually referring to the same thing twice because you lost a comment, it disappeared? Because I can see it, maybe you couldn't see it. It's annoying when that happens. It's happened to One String Puppet and several other people, But anyway, thanks for the information, Red Ibex. Okay, right, James's pipe. Wayne Model Builder says here, apparently this man has just drilled into this object. Not seen the video yet, so not sure what happened. And I said, I replied by text, I'm making an update video. And Wayne Model Builder says underneath, nice one, Ben. I'm more than ever thinking this man is full of shit, though. Look forward to the video, mate. And thanks very much, Wayne Model Builder. I did make the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And then Terabyte Official says here, this is on James's pipe. James has just passed away after trying to open it. And I say, oh no, I warned him. I saw the video. And I mean, I said that as a reply because for that moment, that was actually back at the time when we thought James might have died. I wasn't sure, but he certainly collapsed, and then the live stream just stopped. And Donatello says under here, don't be spreading false statements. And I says, fair enough. We don't know for sure. I hope he's all right. I'm about to make an update video on this. Yeah. What I thought happened, he'd certainly collapsed, and everyone was terrified. And eventually this live stream stopped, and we thought it might have been, we worked out it may have been because the battery ran out on the mobile phone. But as you know from subsequent videos by James, it looks like he's fine. And James opens the pipe. This is the video I made about it. Always home late says, don't recommend the video. It's traumatizing. It's very disturbing, actually. Yeah, he drills into it, then he goes, oh no, and then he collapses, and then everything goes dark. And then Echo Void Vids says here as well, on James's pipe, crazy how aliens, this is in quotes, crazy how aliens mastered interstellar travel, but apparently still use stainless steel tubing and blue reflections, since, drills don't even have blue lights. Oh yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of strange things, isn't it? But as you know, there has been a significant update which kind of like makes that point rather academic. Over the Moon says on James Opens the Pipe, James's acting reminds me of Uncle Albert pretending to be horrified in Only Fools and Horses. There's a link here. I won't click the link, but I think we all know it, don't you? It's when he goes, Rodney tells him to. Oh, sorry. Del Boy tells him to look really shocked because Rodney's left Raquel, or whatever her name is, or Cassandra, or whatever her name is. And he said, "Now, don't forget, Albert. Right, you got to go." I look really shocked when he tells you. And then at the moment Ronnie walks in, and Albert keeps making the sound at the wrong time, going "ah" at the wrong time. Yeah, it's kind of like, and it's really, really funny. It's incredibly funny. But did you think that over the moon? I mean, I'm not on the selectors committee for the next Oscars, so maybe I don't know, but I did wonder at the time. Obviously, like, we've seen that he has come back, whether he came back by his own will, or whether someone like told him, "James, you've got to do this now because this has gone too far. So please, could you make a fake confession?" I don't know. I think it's more likely as he says. I'm not taking it very seriously, but still, it's at the back of my head. As I say in the video, don't necessarily believe confessions. Right, and now I've put now a community notice which said I've uploaded a new comedy video to TikTok, and Wow Signal says first. Oh, cool, yeah. Oxford Graffiti 14. Lance Corporal says, "Please don't get into trouble, Ben." I'll try not to, Lance. I will. No, I know Lance Corporal. He actually lives here in Oxford. But as it happens, you know, I haven't heard anything more about this incident, so I'm assuming everything's okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought they might at least say something, because I was a bit. I suppose what I said could have been interpreted as rude, because I was implying that those two officers were similar to East German communists, you know, with the papers, please thing. And I thought, well, they might just nick me for that, because, but they didn't, as it happens. James opens the pipe. Bandstick says here, "In my head, this is just a fun and morbid bit of entertainment, and hopefully I'll see an analysis pop up on Wendigoon's channel. Love me a good internet creepypasta." Yeah, Bandstick, I think that's probably most likely what it is. I mean, James himself now has he's made a video saying he's kind of quitting for a while. What's his channel? Oh, where is it? Elf Vetted. Hang on. Does he get my video here? Is this him? The Real James Cylinder. Yeah, here's his channel. And as you can see, we put this up 3 days ago. Cool video someone sent me. But he did a live stream explaining everything and signing off. That might be meaning he's not quitting for good, but I think he may be taking a break. I haven't seen this video. Cool video somebody sent me. I haven't seen that one. But he seems to be taking a break. And he actually explains in this little live stream here that he is actually he's going to take a break and think about where he goes next with his career. Or maybe he's done his job for the CIA and they've said, "Okay, you've spread enough disinformation. Now quit social media for a while." Whichever one it is. Okay, we now have a thread in which, all right, this is One String Puppet says here, all right, there's actually a lot of text comments on this, but he said here, he did a long comment here. I think I did address this. Did I address this in the previous? I don't think I did. He says here, "I am literally an expert on this thing now, and I've spent way too long following and looking into every detail." Lol. I feel I could write a whole paper on it. He's apparently found through his Facebook profile. He has apparently been found through his Facebook profile. He has indeed One String Puppet. He's been doxxed completely, as I explained in the video. Sorry, it's the confession video. He says, "I'm not doxing him here, but other creators have done so already." Yes, they have indeed, including Patrick. Yeah. "Loads of inconsistencies have been determined. I could write a list of them, more than I've previously mentioned, Ben. Either way, I hope you return soon." Okay, bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is One String Puppet writing before the confession. Okay. "Either way, I hope you return soon, as a lot of people think it's legitimate and are concerned. I'm surprised YouTube hasn't taken it down yet, as faking a death without a disclaimer as for entertainment purposes, must be against YouTube guidelines. It's caused a massive wave in the community, her. I've seen multiple creators covering since yesterday, but most notably Josh from Polarity did a 6-hour live stream today, going through every video and cross-examination, analysing parts, with over 3,000 people in chat, offering clues and suggestions. I've not seen that, One String Puppet, but Polarity Josh, yeah, I've not seen this video, but I know that Polarity, he was going to do, I'm a big fan of Polarity, and I know he's done some really great stuff on Pine Gap, etc. He's an Australian, but I know that he was going to have James on the show, and it didn't happen. I hear this one here, James Metallic UAP footage. He was going to have James on the show, and that, I don't know if that interview, I think the interview was cancelled, unless I haven't checked his channel enough. But anyway, I'd like to see that. I haven't had time to watch it because I've been away doing other things. But yeah. But he says here, One String Puppet says here, the acting is. Oh, sorry, I'm back on here. Yeah, the acting is really good on the last one though. So much so, lots of people in the medical industry really think he had a seizure or epileptic fit. Others think he had an electric shock and is actually dead or injured. It's a possibility, but as I say, there are potentially lots of clues to mistakes and errors he's made which indicate a hoax. But we'll see if he decides to never post again, or if he comes back or not. Well, as we've seen, One String Puppet, he has come back. But I mentioned here, Patrick Unvetted gave you a shout out today. She did. And One String says, I gave him a rundown in his Discord live chat and pointed out some of the details. I didn't expect the shout out though. People in his comments are calling me CIA now. And Stephen Seagull says here, quite a weak hoax that bloke could have dragged, to be honest. Bloke could have dragged it out and made it way more fun, like Mel's Hole or the Doddington messages. All right. Well, Steve, he did actually say, Stephen, he wanted to. His original plan was to carry on till he had 50,000 subs, and then he'd pull the rug. As it happens, he had about 20,000, and he decided to come clean. The Doddington message. I'm not sure the Doddington messages are a hoax. Actually, I mean, I think you mean the Donaldson messages. I'm not convinced they're a hoax. I cover this on my ASAP Seriously Strange video. Mel's Hole obviously is a hoax, yeah. And Higher Learning says here, you write all of that with not one of the many inconsistencies. Can you name 2 or 3 of them? Right. One String Puppet then he's not to be defeated easily. He says here to Higher Learning, he tests it for radiation. The levels are off the chart, which he says is extremely dangerous. Contact the government kind of levels. A month later, he still seems to be fine and hasn't shown any signs of sickness or even bothering to get medical help or advice. He seems to have forgotten about his potentially deadly exposure. Well, One String Puppet, if you remember, I think this is how we got together and first started talking on his channel. I suggested he checks into A&E after that. He should have done. 2. This is at One String Puppet again. He claims to have been shot at through his windscreen. The hole is not consistent with a bullet hole. Yeah, and I've already covered that myself, and I think it's more likely to be he was hit by a stone. 3, and indeed James actually claims that later. The letter he receives from a foreign government department doesn't exist. A government department that doesn't exist. His terminology is wrong, and it shows no sign of any official seal or header. Yeah. And what's more, foreign agencies don't do that. They don't send you letters saying, "Hey, we're with the like Russian embassy. Do you want to betray your country?" And they don't do that. They send an agent round, usually sort of blonde, leggy one, to like be nice to you and kind of like lure you. That's what they do. 4, an earlier video, he's shown wearing homemade metal rings, similar to the object which he pointed out in his comments. The following videos, he removed them. Yeah, and of course, as we know, One String, it's been revealed he is a metal worker. Part of his doxing is that I won't go into details, but basically he makes metal artifacts, which he sells. That's his job. When drilling into the object at the end, he's seen subtly flicking the clutch underneath the drill to put it onto reverse before starting. Therefore, the bit spins backwards and doesn't drill at all. Oh, I never noticed that one, One String. 6. His original video his original first video, he says he saw the object hovering in the air over him, but rather than show his video footage of this, he just shows us a screenshot of his video footage of it in the air, indicating that he probably just threw it in the air, recorded it, and then took a screen grab of that recording. Well, he's claiming that's what happened, One String. 7, he consistently name drops famous interested in the topic. Corbell, Rogan, Greer, who specifically is overseeing the testing of the boogosphere, which is what, in my opinion, the marketing are supposed to look. Marketing is supposed to look like. 8, the hieroglyphics on the object can be roughly translated into esoteric occult language, inconsistent but vaguely representing terrestrial symbology and meaning. It's not alien, but man-made. Yeah. Now, I should say it is the first bit on 7. I have no answer to, because these people never got back to him, maybe because they didn't find him credible, or maybe they didn't want anyone muscling into their market. But it could mean it's the hieroglyphics. The hieroglyphics could mean it's man-made rather than alien, just someone who knows a bit about ancient occult language, or it could mean that the aliens actually influenced those original civilizations that created that language. That's the sort of ancient aliens theory. 9, the actual carvings are rough, wobbly, imperfect, and on close inspection have small ball-like points at each end, indicating it was made using a ballpoint attachment, but from a Dremel by hand. Well, he actually claims since then he didn't use a Dremel, he actually used an angle grinder. But he could have finished it off with a Dremel or done the instance with a Dremel. Dremel is a kind of drill that is used for making marks rather than holes on metal. 10. He makes claims that the object has burnt things around like a wooden sawhorse he has on it in one of his earlier videos, showing scorch marks, but thereafter sits on polystyrene with no detriment to the material, which is much easier to burn. I never thought of that One String. Obviously, I saw it, but I never thought of that. Yeah. 11. He claims he was chased in his car and that he saw it a human-type figure with wings like a bat. No video, need I say more? I could go on and make more points. The thing is, One String, he actually has since claimed, believe it or not, that the Mothman was real and everything else was fake. Throughout the whole thing, he says, I'm doing daily updates to show I've not been killed and I'm still alive. This points towards deliberate signposting with the aim to fool people that something has happened when he does stop posting. Obviously, yes. He repeatedly calls out for Joe Rogan to get in touch, most notably in the Prep to Cut It Open video, indicating he wants attention and be noticed. Possibly, although One String, and I would probably do the same in his position if it was real, but that's another theory, yeah. In my opinion, the whole thing has been an elaborately predetermined, premeditated hoax with the aim to gain attention and notoriety, which he's now succeeded in doing. Yeah. Partly thanks to people like me, I know. I welcome any opinions and counter evidence to the contrary of what I've said here, and reiterate that this is just my personal opinion and observation. I'm not claiming it all to be facts, but everything taken into account, I think the correlated evidence speaks for itself. The only thing I would say is really compelling and legitimate is his ability to act, stay consistent throughout his demeanor. My assumption now is we'll never hear from him again, and it will remain one of those internet creepypasta style stories for creators to cover in the future. Well, that assumption didn't come true. He actually made a complete mea culpa, real or fake. He has been very active since then, as you know. And I mentioned there's a few nut jobs. I mentioned I met Patrick at Ben in the Desert 2 is the video. And One String Puppet says, oh, I may be able to go to Contacts in the Desert. Yeah. Anyway, we have a very brief kind of text exchange here. And then, I said here, I hope you have a great weekend. I need to get more familiar with these type of events. I'd be interested in going myself. And he mentions the Dorset Earth Mysteries group. Now, I won't be going until they invite me to speak again, probably, One String. But say hello to those guys for me. And tell Neil you know me. And he says he's done a face reveal. He seems to be doing gaming streams now, and people are donating money. That's one way to jumpstart a channel. I think he knew what he was doing all along. Possibly, quite possibly, One String, yeah. And that's the end of that thread. James opens the pipe. Oh, how am I doing for time here? Sorenable gives me a thumbs up. Thanks, Sorenable. Much appreciated. And Wow Signal says first. Great. Actually, well, as I said, I'm not doing these in order, but yeah, gold tinfoil hat to you on James opens the pipe. One string puppet. Sorry. Wow Signal says here, the Cell News Rat House would be another. Oh, the Celler Neues Rat House would be another underwater investigation worthy of Ben's time. Why have I heard that before? The Celler Neues Rat. And let me just. I know it's German. Oh, was it? I've heard that before. Where have I heard that before? The Celler Neues. Here we go. No, that's right. Here we go. Right, this is this. I thought I've heard that before somewhere. Yes, it's something to do. Here we go. Oh, it's in German. Is there an English version? Oh, it's only you can only get it in German or French. But anyway, you can look at the pictures here. Is it not in English? Oh, right. I'll have to go back. Here we go. Oh, there's a Reddit thread here. It's the World War II subreddit. Is it true that Nazis dabbled in occult practices and had a base in the Celler Neues Rathaus where satanic rituals were performed? The podcast Bedtime Stories ran a story on. That's where I must have heard it. Bedtime Stories, right. And, oh, I see. That's a good idea. So Wow Signal wants me to do an investigation into this, right? Yeah. And Steve-O says, can you do a full video on the Baikal swimmers? All right. It's one I'm not currently aware of. Well, I'll have to see, Steve-O, because the Celler Neues Rathaus would be a good one too, definitely. Right, Red Ibex says first on the Age of Disclosure watch party introduction. And German Mad said, sad little boy. Right, German Mad. You've outstayed your welcome. Do you want to witness a blocking, guys? Here we go. I'm getting rid of this dickhead. Let's have a look. I'm getting rid of this tosser. Look at it. He's only got one upload. So what do I do now? How do I get rid of him? Can I get rid of him? How do you block somebody? He was rude to Liana, and now he's been rude to someone else. So how do I get rid of him? There we go. Right, how do I block him? That's report. I don't want to report him. I just want to block the cunt. Where is he? Report user. Hide user from channel. Hang on. How do I block him? He only joined on the 25th of July. How do I block him? Do I have to subscribe to him first to block him? I don't know. All right, I'm deleting his comment. That is out of order, Joe and Mad. And you were rude to Rihanna. Now you've been rude to two people now. So I'm getting rid of this. There we go. And any more of your comments I'm deleting. Right, and I said one string puppet says here on James opens the pipe. Ha, he's back. Check out the new live. All right, yes, I went off the Lapis, that. And I said, I know, I've seen James's supposed confession videos. I'll have a lot to say about this, but I'll wait till I get home from Lapis. And one string says safe travels. Thanks very much. Yeah, that's when James opens the pipe. Right, yeah, I thought it was James he was referring to. This was before I went to Lapis, yeah. And I have to go, I was so much, this is why I got such a backlog. Because this all happened on the Friday, and the last video I did explains everything. All this stuff was happening, and then I had to go off to Lapis. Yeah. James opens the pipe. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is on James opens the pipe, and it's Neil Peel who says here, "Is this what 3i Atlas pooped out in the privacy of going behind the sun?" Yes, this is one of the artifacts. The artifacts that I'm still trying to work out how to block German Mad. Sorry, guys, I need to know how to block this bastard. How do I do it? No, I don't know. All right, no worries. The artifacts that Avi talked about, yeah. And then I did I actually put a notice on the Age of Disclosure. So I put a pinned comment that said, I'm sorry, this video is not as good as it could have been. I was recording late at night, but this is the only chance I had to make it before leaving for Lapis. And Foxy Alsatian Terrier Rescue said, don't worry, Ben. No one has a clue what you're talking about. And Over the Moon says the video offered a much better experience than the movie, and crucially, it didn't cost me $40. Well, I'm glad that I don't know. Over the Moon. I'm glad you enjoyed the video, but it is expensive. I'll be saying more in the review. I would say, on reflection, I think I'm glad I thought, am I glad I watched this? Considering I don't know which country you're in, because it depends on currency levels, but I know it's roughly the same across the world. It's £18 to buy, £14.49 to rent here. I mean, if you're going to pay £14.49, you might as well just bloody buy it. So I did pay the extra £4 and bought it, or £3.51 to be precise. That is very expensive for an Amazon stream. Very expensive indeed. This indicates the film had financial troubles. But anyway, you may work out more. Anyway, you may see how you feel when you've done the review. But I do recommend watching it, Over the Moon. I mean, I'm not going to give you any links or any directions because I think that would be wrong. But it has proliferated, if you know what I mean. And it's worth watching, definitely. Josh, digital ID live stream, and Joshua says no to digital ID. Absolutely not, Joshua. Yeah, absolutely, definitely. And then James opens the pipe, and we have here Foxy Alsatian Terrier Rescue, which says here, "You're such an expert, Ben." And this was 10 days ago, and I said I'm doing a live stream about this case tomorrow, which of course was the confession live stream. Oh, we have a really old one now. Oh, we got Area 51 alien interview with Jon Stewart. Yes. This is before Victor Nevada had his little hissy fit and spat his dummy out. And I said here, we had someone called JT Kaylee Kamali, who says here, "I've lived in Nevada for 15 years now in a small town about 1.5 hours north of Las Vegas. And I can tell you, Nevada is a strange state with lots of activity and portals." Yeah, I can well believe it. I really can. In addition to Area 51 and the ET Highway, Las Vegas, I'm convinced, is an enigma. You have the city edge that just stops at the Sunrise Mountain. There's a temple dedicated to the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet east of Las Vegas, in the desert in Indian Springs. You recently had the backyard alien incident where Metro Police responded to the call. The junkies in Las Vegas, in my opinion, many of them are manifestations. You've seen them down on Fremont Street acting like NPCs. Many of the casinos have open entrances, and yet I've seen junkies attempting to walk into the casinos, and they stop at the entrance as if there's some invisible glass stopping them. I've seen them get stuck, but keep acting like they're waking like The Sims. Nevada is chock full of mysterious things. And I put like a text comment here saying, thanks for the information. I went there myself in 2023, see my video Meadows, and I can well agree, Las Vegas has a strange energy to it. Yeah. Now, the temple you're talking about, I think, may well be the Luxor, the Luxor complex, which, of course, was the venue for the conference. I think that might be what you're talking about. There are a lot of like what Charlie Veach calls crackheads wandering around Las Vegas begging. Some of them set up little camps. I hadn't noticed them being any different to the ones I see unfortunately, in most Western cities these days. You will see this phenomenon, unfortunately. As for the casinos, I hadn't noticed them being stopped. Obviously, there are bouncers who won't let them in. But I hadn't noticed that, as if there's some invisible barrier stopping them. It really doesn't, yeah. Now, you live in a town 1.5 hours north of Las Vegas. That must actually be close to Area 51 then. I actually went to that area, as you know, if you watch the video. I may well have gone past where you live on my way to the little alien, yeah. But thanks for getting in touch, JT Kelly. That's really interesting information to hear from a local, and thanks for commenting on my old video. And then finally, James opens the pipe, and we have Mr. Jason Sean, if that's his name, who says here, "If it's real, I'm surprised he hasn't had a visit from the Men in Black." Well, he may have done, Mr. Jason Sean, which is why he's made his confession. And then I put a community notice up, which says, as many of you know, I've gone to it now, which is no. All right. What's happened now? Hang on. So I'm going to have to go down now. Back down. I've lost my place. But anyway, the community notice was just me saying that how we'll come down. Here we go. The community notice was just me. That's strange. It's vanished. I think it's out of order again. Oh, bloody heck. Oh dear. Sorry, wait for a moment. Right, yeah. As many of you, I'll right click this. No, I can't. Okay. It was just me saying about, I know you want me to comment on things like the NASA revelation of Three Eye Atlas, James's confession, the age of disclosure, but I'm just off the lapis. That's what it was basically. And indeed, I said this in the video I've just uploaded. And Wow Signal says, first, have a great time at Lapis. Thanks, I did. There is a video coming of that, which I'll do at some point. And Neil says, a confession, tell us more. Oh, I did, Neil. I did. I've done a video about that, which you might enjoy. And then, okay, I've done that one. And then I say, thanks everyone, live stream coming up. And then Wow Signal says, nice one, Ben. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. I do hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. And then we've got on James's confession live stream, lab-based, says here, peak gullibility is when you're grasping at straws using the literal description of a confession. Hang on. So peak gullibility is when you're grasping at straws. I agree, which is why when people say Rendlesham Forest was a truckload of burning manure, that's the perfect example. Or when Mick West says, oh, the Tic Tac was just a reflection on the cockpit canopy, is another example. Brackets, using the literal description of confession sounds like you are going all sovereign citizen on us, Ben, close brackets. Well, that base, I am one of these sovereign citizen-like people, I must admit. But, I did want to clarify what we're talking about, which is why I decided to go back to basics when it came to meaning. To contradict something confessed by the creator. Okay, to contradict, it's grasping at straws to contradict something confessed to by the creator. Okay, this is an entire sentence with brackets in the middle. Peak gullibility is when you are grasping at straws to contradict something confessed to by the creator. Okay, right. I'll just finish this comment and I'll come back to that. Creating your own speculative backstory to explain it. Really? There's no shame. There's no shame in saying, fair play, good job in fooling me, and learn from this and applying the lesson learned to other stories, quote unquote. Critical thinking is a skill best developed from experience. With it, you can immediately disregard the next James's pipe incident as fakery and enjoy it for entertainment, like as it was for the entertainment it was for the rest of us skeptics. Okay, so peak gullibility is when you're grasping at straws to contradict something confessed to by the creator. Well, it can be if the creator makes a confession and you have good reason to believe that confession is real. In the case of James, there is good reason to believe that confession is real, and I've never said otherwise. So if you are including me in that category, lab-based, then I think you are marginalizing me and you're polarizing me. And this is exactly what I warn about in this video. In other words, saying that because Ben didn't immediately reject it and just enjoy it as entertainment, because he just dismissed it instantly as fakery, then he is a 100% true believer that James's pipe was really alien. So it's either one or the other. It's like 100% real or 100% fake. There's no nuance or doubt in between. Right? That's what I mean by polarization. And I hope you are not trying to categorize me in that way. So if you do contradict something confessed by the creator, and the creator says, look, here it is, and here's all the evidence, then yes, it is peak gullibility. Yes, it is. But to doubt a confession is not. And for me to leave the door open slightly to say, well, maybe this is not a real confession, and to provide for you, the viewer, the reasons why, is perfectly rational. Not only that, there are other fake confessions. I give examples of other fake confessions. And indeed, in my skeptic talk, I've given even more examples. That is the Fox sisters, Alex Malarkey, and Bob Gimlin. There's 3 just to be starting with. There is no shame in saying fair play, good job in fooling me, and applying the lessons learned. Well, I am applying the lessons. I hope I have learned lessons from this James scandal, and I hope I will apply them to future events. But this doesn't mean this lesson should not include instantly disregarding any incident like this and enjoying it for entertainment, regardless of reasons for thinking it might be true. There is a difference between doing that and saying, okay, next time I see something like this, I'm going to remember what I learned previously and then maybe apply that lesson without necessarily rejecting it or accepting it. So I ask you, lab base, I'm asking you to be slightly more subtle in your assessment of this situation. It's very tempting in this day and age to see everything as black and white. And I do actually think I'm probably 90% or 95% sure that James's confession is real. Definitely. But I'm not going to say I'm 100% sure when I don't think it is. And in the video, I do explain my reasons why. I mean, did you watch the entire video? I hope so. Anyway, thanks for the comment. That was very interesting. Red Ibex says on James's confession live stream, he says here, backslappers and skeptics are having a field day. This doesn't prove everything is fake. Exactly. Oh, they are having a mutual masturbation group circle jerk orgy right now over this. They certainly were. It seems to have died down a bit now. But again, this is just telling them what they want to hear. They had all the bases covered to begin with. Backslappers always do. Skeptics not so much. Skeptics tend to be more, I'd say, accepting than backslappers. But they did, yeah, they definitely did. Joshua says lots of ignorant people. Well, there were a few, Joshua, yeah, definitely. And now we have the Cosmic Twilight. Now there was a bit of housekeeping over this issue, which I should point out, which was that for some reason the comments were switched off. He puts this on James Opens the Pipe. Right, he wanted to put the comment on James' confession live stream, but suddenly the comments were bloody turned off, and I don't know how it happened. And anyway, he says here, why did you turn off the comments on James's confession live stream? I'll start with that. And I say, I did not turn off the comments on that video. And Cosmic Twilight says, I hear you, but the video still shows comments as off for viewers. Maybe check your video settings just in case. Just wanted to participate in the discussion, but I'll leave it at that. And I say I'm underneath because I did go and check, and yes, and I say yes, they were indeed switched off. I don't know how that happened. I never did it. Apologies. I've just changed it back. Please feel free to participate. I honestly don't know how that happened, but yeah, for some reason, the James's confession live stream comments were switched off. Anyway, the point that Cosmic wanted to make is this. James clearly underestimated how the internet would react, and it seems things escalated in a way he may not have expected. I find it really disappointing when someone fakes a crisis or pretends something serious happened on a live stream. His followers were genuinely concerned for his safety and well-being, only for it to turn out to be a stunt. Yeah, I have to agree with that, Cosmic Twilight. I mean, if this was indeed a stunt, then that is actually disreputable, and he shouldn't have done that. I think he kind of apologized afterwards. Cosmic continues, I try to keep an open mind, but this came across as a hoax from the very beginning. And once again, another attempt at grabbing a few minutes of attention, which James himself has commented on in the past. It's hard to understand how people can still trust him after this situation. It's honestly a bit embarrassing that some still insist it was real. It really highlights how easily people could be misled. Yeah. A lot of people thought it was certain it was a hoax from the very beginning. Yeah, and everything you said there. I was someone who thought that might be the case. In fact, there are comments on his videos long before his confession or before his collapse where I say, he could be just making this whole thing up. Those are comments from me. Definitely is. And then, but the thing is that you then say this. It's hard to understand how people can still trust him after this situation. Well, I don't trust him. No, I don't. It's honestly a bit embarrassing that some still insist it was real. Right. Now, who is insisting it is still real, Cosmic Twilight? Because I hope you don't mean me, because I don't insist it was still real. As I've explained, I explain in these videos and all these videos about James, I explain how I have never insisted that this was real. And so please do clarify whether you're talking about me when you say some still insist it was real. James then says this. James insults his followers by referring to them as gullible and has used this whole fiasco as a stunt for clicks and views. He's been caught lying and still refuses to take any meaningful accountability for his actions. Why should we give him any more attention when the damage has already been done? I believe that mature approach is to leave him for what he's worth, a hoaxer. Right. I think it's worth giving him attention, Cosmic, simply because this is a lesson. This is education for us, for the viewer. I think it's a case study in either what happens when someone creates a fake story, or when someone creates a genuine story and makes a fake confession. I think both of these could apply to James, depending on what is the factual nature of his situation. I will not trust him again. If James reappears saying there's a flying saucer in my backyard and you see some kind of metal construction, believe me, I'll be the first to say, the little boy can only cry wolf so many times. And before you start going, hang on a sec, what's going on here? Oh, hello. I'll be the first to say that. I mean, I hope you don't think that I'd be among those who are still saying, no, it's definitely real. It's definitely real this time. I know he made up the story about the pipe, but this is a real flying saucer. The way you portrayed myself as a backslapper feels childish and somewhat arrogant, to be honest, Ben. I always try to stay open-minded about any topic, but from the start, James didn't seem to have a clear idea of what he was doing. Now, Cosmic, I never mentioned you by name when I said backslappers, all right? From your words here, I actually would not characterize you as a backslapper. Your words here are actually very similar to One String Puppet, who I also do not include as a backslapper. I mean, I actually do provide a description on my channel in various places exactly what I mean by a backslapper. A backslapper is not just someone who thought James was hoaxing stuff. A backslapper has a particular personality type, and you're not included in that. So I don't. If you think it's childish and arrogant to accuse some people of being backslappers, please provide examples. But I don't actually call you a backslapper, and you do sound quite open-minded. Actually, you sound reasonably open-minded about this compared to many, anyway. So I'm not calling you a backslapper. Okay, James's confession live stream. I think James has been replaced. It's not really him, like Paul McCartney. I don't know. I think it's him. I think it's probably him, actually. His voice is the same, and he's got a very unusual voice. I thought he was older than he is, because he's quite young. He's obviously 20-something. James confession live stream, Red Ibex. I've messaged James asking for my $100 back. Oh, you didn't give him a donation, did you, Red Ibex? Oh, blimey. I mean, look, at least I know some of you are trying to persuade me, or trying to polarize me to some kind of gullible fool who just swallowed every word he said. Believe me, I never bought anything from him. And I never paid him a penny. I assure you. And funny enough, now he's put in the pipe on sale. He's auctioning in it. Actually, he's actually putting it up for auction. He's going to give it to the highest bidder, and then apparently the profits, the money he gets paid, he's going to distribute to charity. So that's the thing. Believe me, I'm not putting in a bid. I don't want his bloody pipe. I really don't. Right, Jeffrey Epstein death live stream. Joshua says Ben's voice, lol, and my voice. What about my voice? James confession live stream. How am I doing for time? All right, I'm getting through the second hour. Father Spiridon Red Ibex says on James' Confession live stream, Father Spiridon Bailey's UFO description was not very good. I messaged him for an online debate, but he never replied. All right, yeah, I sent him an email asking him about that, but I mean, it's his wife actually who saw it, not him. She seems to have got a better view of it. No, correction. His wife saw it, and she told him about it when they got married. Definitely. Red Ibex says here on James Opens the Pipe. Did James ever ask you for money? No, he didn't actually ask anyone for money. He had a donation. I think he had like a PayPal, which some people were putting money into, or voluntarily, or super chats. They were putting super chats onto his YouTube as well, voluntarily, or sending money to his PayPal. He never actually asked people to do that. In fact, at one point, he asked people to stop making donations. because he said he didn't feel he deserved them. And then people, I think people start. I think it was a bit of reverse psychology because people kept on giving him donations just to piss him off, or as a joke. But I certainly didn't give him anything. Red Ibex says, "Are you a practicing ghost hunter, Ben? Have you done videos on this?" Yes. Well, I'm not a regular ghost hunter. No, I've only done a limited amount of field research, but I have actually. Here we go. I've actually done a couple of videos about ghost hunts I've been on. One of them is this one, Ghostly Goings On, which is which was actually in Leicestershire. I went to this was back in 2013. I went with Don Phillips to Leicestershire. I've been to St Friedwide's Church a couple of times in Binsey, such as here. This is St Friedwide 2013. So I've done that a couple of times. So I've done a little bit of field research, but not a lot. It's not it's not something I'm very passionate about, and I do regularly. I don't spend lots of evenings and night times crawling around old castles on the weekends. All right, Red Ibex says here on 3i Atlas Acceleration live stream, why are the comments turned off on your recent live stream I was posting on? I have no idea, Red Ibex. I have no idea. Someone just made me aware of them. Someone even posted a comment on the HPANWO TV blog, and I thought, well, I better go and check it out. And I didn't take it seriously because I thought, I didn't do that. And I went to the bloody live stream and found that it had happened, and I don't know how it happened. It seems to have happened automatically. I immediately corrected it as soon as I did. NASA on 3i Atlas. Red Ibex says, I never knew of an Oxford airport. Yeah, we do have an airport. And South Coast Rich says, yep, west of the A34 near Kidlington, officially titled London Oxford Airport. All right. Is it really? That's a bit annoying because I know that there's lots of airports in the southeast that are called London and something else, even if they're nowhere near London, because and the reason is because things like Stansted Airport or Luton, they're called London Stansted and London Luton. Here we go. Oxford Airport. Let's have a look. Oh, it's not, apparently. It's just... Oh, no, it is. You're right, sorry. It's called London Oxford Airport. It is, damn it. And formerly known as Kidlington Airport. An Operation General Aviation Airport located near Kidlington in Cherwell. Yeah, despite its name, it's not included in the IATA. All right, so I see here, this is where the confusion comes in. So it's sometimes called Oxford Airport, sometimes London Oxford Airport. It's not included in the IATA used for London airports, right? Oh, see. There's a picture of the control tower there, you see. That's the air traffic control place. It's quite old, goes back to 1935. Formerly, it was used as formerly RAF Kidlington. There we go. Yeah, that's interesting. Never been there, never taken a flight from there. And it'd be interesting to do that. And Peter says here, only for local people though. If you're not local, you can't use it. That's right. That's right. It has a runway with a cattle grid, as Jasper Carrot says. I went outside and there was this guy kicking. The pilot was kicking the tires. Yeah. If you're not local, you can't use it. And Red Ibex says you have to be an Oxford resident or from a boat, right? Yes. Okay, NASA on 3i Atlas. Oh, here we go. We've got a timestamp here by Red Ibex, which is something. Which says here, what's this?
Went to contact in the desert with, and the plane landed, and there was this rumour that there was this urgent message that another plane was trying to crash into our plane, and we were on a Malaysian Airlines plane.
All right, this is me describing my strange dream. And 3i Atlas says, TCAS. Oh, I don't know what that is. What's TCAS? I'll just Google that because, yeah, TCAS. Let's have a look. What's it say here? Oh, traffic collision avoidance system. Oh, right, I get you now. Yeah, because that was my dream because the pilot just shut everything down. I don't know if that's what they actually do. It just says it's a system designed known as airborne collision avoidance system. To reduce the incidence of mid-air collision between aircraft that monitors the airspace around the aircraft. I see. So it's basically it's a search radar, primary radar system, I think, for so pilot knows the aircraft around it. I think I get that. Yeah, okay. James Confession live stream. Joshua says, funny as fuck. Oh, I'm glad you like that. I'm glad you like it. NASA on 3i Atlas second, says Red Ibex. Well done, Red Ibex. And then Red Ibex is talking about my dream here. There's a timestamp. I know what it is. Why would you have a cat with you? Dreams are funny, man. Yeah, they are. I mean, dreams are... I literally got off this plane in the dream, went down a step ladder, and I walked to the edge of the runway, and there was this little hut in a little enclosure, and there was cats inside it, and there was cat baskets, and I was thinking, what am I going to do with all these cats? Right, there's a timestamp here, another timestamp on, what's this about? Weird like Fresno on NASA on 3i Atlas. What about Fresno?
Oh, it's actually pretty cold. I shut that door because it lets the cold in. Yeah, but it's just like the hotel at Fresno.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
The
reason I said it was compared it to Fresno was because, as you'll see in the video, my hotel room opens directly onto the outdoors. There's no corridor. It opens directly onto this little courtyard where there's all these other rooms. That's why it was reminding me of Fresno. That's the only time I've actually. That's the only time I've actually. That's literally the only time I've actually done that. I've actually been in a hotel like that. I've never been in a hotel like that before, except at Fresno and in at the Sturdy's Castle. The difference, several differences. One, obviously, like there's no like car park on the street, which is nice, but also it's a lot warmer in Fresno than in Sturdy's Castle, definitely. Now, Mr. Jason Sean, oh, right, that's strange. I've already answered. This is above Red Ibex's. I'll show you. This is a bit weird. This is why see, there's Red Ibex on NASA on 3i Atlas, which it's answered, and there's Mr. Jason Sean. It says, this is the video I've already answered this question, because he says, I'm surprised if it's real. I'm surprised he hasn't had a visit from the Men in Black. And as I say here, I've got a timestamp where I've already answered it. And indeed, if you've been watching for this whole video, you'll know that's what I've done. So I don't know why this is all out of order. But anyway, let's carry on. I'll assume when I get to the bottom of it, I've done it all. Anyway, then there's my my community notice again about going off to Lapis. And Paul Wills says, hope you have a good conference, Ben. Look forward to the reportage. And then Paul Wills also gives me another thumbs up comment with a heart. Paul, and there's a flying saucer and an alien face. Yeah, I'm back. There is going to be a reportage, Paul, but it's because of the backlog, I haven't been able to edit or upload it yet. But it will come in the next week or so, definitely. And Serastium says here on the same notice, enjoy your conference. You've earned it. And they are too far and few and far between. They are indeed, mate. Yeah, I am going to another one in a couple of weeks. It's the base one. After that, I'm going to be speaking at 2 events, and then there's of course there's Weird Weekend North, and after that, well, I don't know if I'm going to go to Contact in the Desert, because it depends on money. I'll make a decision before the end of the year whether I go to that or not, but it depends on money. Bright and Amazing says on the same notice, look forward to your views on this, Ben. Hope the conference is informative and fun. Oh, thank you very much, Bright and Amazing. And you know what? Spoiler alert, it was both. And there's going to be a video in more detail soon. James Confession live stream. Jeff Hinsley says here, who posted the video if something bad happened to him? Right. And Joshua saying underneath, I was wondering that too. Yeah, well, if something bad had happened to him, which it seems it hasn't, I mean, it was a live stream at the time. It was a live stream. So basically, if something happens, the live stream just continues. There's no upload needed. It just continues the live stream. And after 40 minutes, it just stopped. And people wondering how that happened. Either someone just stopped it, or it just stopped automatically for some reason. What could have happened is his device could have run out of power. So the mobile phone he was using, for example, could simply have run out of battery, in which case it just goes offline, in which case, if that happens, the live stream automatically stops. I know this has happened to me, by the way. Definitely, this has happened to me. And we have here now Sheepop. That's a good name. Sheepop, who says here on James Opens the Pipe, To mock and insult viewers as backslappers demonstrates who you are as a person. Not very respectable at all. Not very respectable at all. The backslappers studied this James video's content when it all went viral already. You state that the backslappers knew from the 10 seconds. Throughout his uploads, it was too obvious this guy lost control eventually and ran out of ideas, forcing him to come clean. He didn't care about his viewers and even insulted them. This has undermined the UFO community. All right, she-pop. All right, I don't insult and mock viewers as backslappers simply for the reasons that you state, that they suspected or they knew it was a hoax. I didn't do that. Okay, I actually provide an example on. Maybe I should have done it on this video and didn't, but I didn't provide a full, detailed definition of who a backslapper was. A backslapper is not someone who doubted James. A backslapper is a specific personality type. All right. So I wasn't. This is the second time we've had this confusion. So maybe I should go through exactly what a backslapper is. I'll go through it so that you and not lab based, Cosmic Twilight know what I'm talking about. Right. The rules, right? A backslapper. This is a good video, actually. This is a good article worth reading to learn more. Andrew has questions, and I say here, okay, this is where I go into it. What is a backslapper? Okay, a backslapper is someone who obeys these 3 rules. I don't have to keep it on screen share. You can check yourself. Right. Rule 1: all people except the backslappers fall into 2 groups: shills and naive people who are duped by shills. Rule 2: anything the backslappers don't believe in is a psyop. Rule 3: nothing in this world can ever get any better. The Illuminati have total power and can never be beaten. If anything happens that makes it look like the Illuminati are losing power, it's just a deeper and more devious act of the conspiracy that proves that their power is growing and that they are winning even more. Only the backslappers are clever enough to understand this and have the courage to face up to it. Okay? That is what a backslapper is. If you do not fall into that category, then you are not a backslapper. And any viewer who doesn't fall into that category are not backslappers. So maybe it wouldn't be respectful of me, or respectable, as what you say here, to call all viewers backslappers, and I don't. So I hope that clarifies my position, and I hope it clarifies me also the position which I took with the Cosmic Twilight. I put actually a text comment here on James's confession. I said here, someone has informed me that the comments were switched off on this video. Apologies. I don't know how that happened. I've just changed it back. There we go. And the Cosmic Twilight says here, all right, the Cosmic Twilight has actually just repeated the question, the comment that they actually said before, and they put it on James's confession live stream. It's actually the same comment they've already posted on the other video because basically that the comments were off. All right, so James, Cosmic Twilight, I'm glad you're now feel free to participate, and you are participating now. Honestly, how did that happen? Why should that just happen? That the comments just get switched off? I didn't do it. James's confession live stream says here nothing as it seems says on a James's confession live stream. The theta pinch is a method of plasma confinement used in nuclear fusion research, where a strong, rapidly applied azimuthal magnetic field circling around the plasma cylinder compresses and heats the plasma all along its axis. This magnetic field is generated by external coils and induces currents in the plasma, leading to adiabatic compression and heating. I'm not sure if this applies, but perhaps it does. Right. I don't remember talking about that in this video. But the subject you just mentioned, I do bring up in several other videos and several articles. I'll go to videos because that's the easiest thing to do. It's the easiest thing to go. Yeah, nuclear fusion power. I like that one. Nuclear fusion live stream. Return to Cullum. Energy politics and UFOs. The Keshe Foundation videos, etc. There's a number of them here. In fact, I recommend this portal. Where is it? Where's the portal? Let me just find the right portal. Hang on, here we go. That's the wrong portal. Here we are. Check out this portal here. It's the free energy portal. You can find some shorter articles as well, like 5-minute reads as well on here as well. So check out this portal. All right, I recommend everyone goes there. Okay. We're nearly on the second. I think we're going to go on to the third hour in a minute, guys. We're actually nearly at the end now. But UAPS, actually, this is quite a long comment, so I will continue in hour number 3. Well, welcome everyone to hour number 3 of this reply to comments video. I don't think it's gone to the third hour for a while, so maybe it's because it's actually almost a month since I did one, so maybe that's why. The reason I haven't done like as many as usual in terms of these reply to comments videos is actually simply because I've been doing other things. Okay, we have UAPS 28 who says you're NASA and 3i Atlas. I could put a third hour timestamp, first time in a while. Oh no, Ben, please not 3i Atlas again. I'm totally fed up with it. If you seriously want to shed new light on the NHIs, then why not do a show on ITC and also try some experiments using dictaphones, radios, etc.? ITC and physical mediumship might be our best chance of getting into contact with the NHIs and truly understanding what they really are. This 3i Atlas is getting us nowhere, in my humble opinion. Also, I would avoid that James character from now on as well. If he's just another hoaxer, then why bother making any more videos about him? Don't give him any more publicity. Also, Ben, please don't forget about Don Phillips and the NHI. Becky, you could devote a whole show to Becky and try to uncover what her true nature really is. Please, no more 3i Atlas or James lols. Okay, UAPS. I should point out that this video, I actually recorded it over a week before I uploaded it. All right, so it is slightly out of date, and I actually answer some of your points in more recent uploads. But I am going to continue to cover 3i Atlas when I think it's necessary to cover it. And in this case, certainly at the time, I thought it was, and I still do. I don't do this as a substitute or an exclusion for some of the other experiments you mention. In fact, I've studied ITC and physical mediumship quite a bit, and certainly on HPANWO radio. Let's have a look. And as for Don Phillips, like earlier in this video, I showed the viewers an example of some of the collaborations I've made with Don Phillips. Let's just have a look. I'm sure I've covered this on HPANWO TV. Here we go. Look. Right. Here's an example. EVP on HPANWO TV. There you go. Michael Shermer, traitor. How about that? ASAP Seriously Strange Conference. That's the 2011 one. There you go. So that's 3 videos just to begin with. So I have covered those subjects there. And you're absolutely right. They are very, very important. And they may be the key to interacting with NHIs. Yeah, it may certainly they're the key. I think it's a very important means of communicating with spirits, certainly. The spirits of non-human entities in other dimensions, other worlds, other planes of reality, including people we've died, people we know and love who've died. And so I've covered that in detail. And as I said, Don Phillips, I've done several videos. I've certainly done several collaborations with him on HPANWO radio as well. And I'd love to return to this subject. That is a good idea. You've made some valid and important suggestions, which I'll take on board. But it's not going to be the exclusion of 3i Atlas right now. If you're fed up with it, I'm sorry, but I am going to raise it as an issue when it's necessary to. And I don't apologize. I don't apologize for doing that. I'm just sorry you're fed up with it. And Wow Signal says underneath, 3-eyed Alan, all in Mine cinemas this season. Revel in the forecasting. That sounds a bit like something Professor Unwin most would say. 3-eyed Alan. What is 3? Is it a film? Because it says something else. Let's have a look. Just Google it. I'm just going to Google it quickly. 3-eyed. There's something called 3-eyed Raven. 3-eyed Alien. What's 3-eyed Alien? 3-eyed Raven. Oh, it's 3-eyed Raven. A title to a powerful seer. Okay, I don't understand the reference there. I'm afraid. Wow Signal. but apparently it's in all Mind cinemas. That was Mind cinemas. Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. By the way, UAPS. I wouldn't mind doing a lot on the subject. It's something I haven't done since I collaborated with Don Phillips way back in 2013 or whatever it was, which is live EVPs on the show. Yeah, I've done a video about EVPs that have appeared on the show, but a live EVP, that might be quite something, wouldn't it? Yeah, definitely. Thanks very much. Now where were we now? Okay. Rhiannon says on NASA on 3i Atlas, who says here, can you imagine if Ben had witnessed first-class evidence of paranormal activity and then reaching for his camera, it won't come on because the battery had died and because he hadn't brought his charger? No! Oh, I know, I should have grabbed the charger. It was silly of me. As it happened, Rhiannon, I managed to finish the film. As you saw, I finished the film with my mobile phone. It always really annoys me when I book to stay in a hotel that is advertised as an historic building, and then when I get there, I find they have put me in the stables or built a new extension out the back. If I wanted to sleep in a shed, I would hang around with tramps and horses, FFS. I know, yeah. Only Amiga says here, it's not very nice calling homeless people tramps. Well, I don't know. I mean, Amiga. It's just a saying. It's not. I don't think Rihanna meant any offence here. But tramps. I mean, there are ruder things you could say about them. And I've done a video actually which you should watch, called "My Argument with a Homeless Person." It's which covers this in detail. But I don't think Rihanna's done anything wrong by saying tramps. I don't think it is. If she is, Rihanna's not a politically correct person, I'm pleased to say. Right, 3i Atlas and NASA. Oh, NASA 3i Atlas is Gary J. Robinson. Hey, Gary, how you doing? I know you've left me a message on Facebook. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I'm sorry about that. Whoever wrote the script for these people, that meaning the NASA panel, went to great lengths in order to completely sterilize 3i Atlas. Notice the use of non-specific shutdown terms such as interstellar traveler and friendly solar system visitor. They back these up with relentless information about their technical capabilities, reading off the details with an unsettling sense of euphoria, as if they've been smoking something. This relentless grandishing, is of course meant to distract us from something. Patronizing cringe from the National Association of Space Actors. Pride and dignity to all. Pride and dignity to you, Gary. Yeah, I mean, it's absurd. And you've spotted something that a lot of other commentators have done, including Avi Loeb. So, yeah, it's to me, it looked like a piece of theatre. A lot of people have said this, and indeed, I think it was. At one point, I actually said that one of the panelists was saying, "Look, she's simply reading from a script. Can't you see that?" Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I've missed one here. There's a thread. I thought it was all part of the same thread. Neil Peel says on NASA on 3i Atlas first. And Neil says, Red Ibex says, well done, Neil. Where's Hugo? Hugo is basically gone off to find himself. He's done the sort of American hobo thing and I think disappeared in internet terms. I have had some discussions with him, which have been very frustrating and dismaying. And I think possibly I'm concerned for his mental health, quite frankly. I don't want to go into details because he's a private correspondence, but he was very, very difficult in dealing to talk to. And Neil says, thank you. Not sure where Hugo is. I got the notification. Rudd Ibex was out of the room when I was out of the room when the notification came on. Bad luck, says Neil. I came 17th today, says Wow Signal. Well, you get a mention in dispatches for that. Yeah, and Red Ibex says no. Oh. Okay, 17th on. Oh, right. Wow Signal says on 17th on NASA on 3i Atlas. Oh, it's like everyone's a winner, man. Red Ibex says on NASA on 3i Atlas. R.I.P. Barry. He was perhaps your best of friends. Yeah, he was. He really was at the time. Certainly. I still miss him. I really still miss Barry. And I didn't, because of personal reasons to do with his family, I didn't find out he died until 18 months after he did. Someone is texting me. What do they want? I keep texting me. Hang on a sec. I didn't find out until like 18 months later. I don't want to go into too much detail because it's a bit personal. But here we go. Just a sec. Not yet. It's my daughter. Hang on. Yet. There we go. And someone else has texted me. All right. Top uploaded. All right. That's right. Pardon me. Yeah, I never found out. They never told me deliberately. This is very, very sad. But thanks, Red Eye, because I miss him. And wherever he is now, I hope he's okay. And we'll meet again. I'm sure we'll meet again in another life. Nicholas Bain says on NASA on 3i Atlas, I think we sometimes forget that even if 3i Atlas is just a comet, quote unquote just, how amazing it is to witness this in this amazingly strange, beautiful universe and what it all means. Yes, I've made this comment as well, Nicholas, which is, I'm not, as I said earlier, we always get polarized in this industry, don't we? You're either pro 100% alien, 100% not, etc. Everything's 100% one way or the other, black and white. And I've said from the very start that this might be a natural object. It's possible. It's physically possible. And if it is, then it's still a very, very remarkable one. And that's what does make this universe so interesting. It's pretty clear. If it's natural, it means that it comes from a space, probably in like the thin disk where it emerged from, full of older stars. That indicates that in its early history, this galaxy had very, very different chemistry. And that alone should surely be of scientific curiosity, because if it's natural, it's an extremely old object. It's by far the oldest object we've ever seen. That's something extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary. Thanks very much, Nicholas. You're right. Now we have a thread here on which is Tessa1111 says here, my question to NASA is, why are A3 Atlas comet pictures so fuzzy, worse than UFO photos? Yeah, exactly. I would say probably a bit of airbrushing, possibly, to be fair to them, also because the high-rise camera is not designed for that kind of work. It's designed to look down at the planet Mars. However, Avi Loeb did say, based on its resolution and the range, we should have got a better image than that. But Only Amiga says, because it's very small and far away from the sun, it doesn't reflect much light. But Tessa, but you must realize, Only Amiga, that the principal picture from NASA didn't come from the Earth. It came from Mars, and it actually passed very close to Mars and very close to the high-rise image. And Tessa says here, and yet it's said to be huge for a comet. I thought cameras were better nowadays. Only Amiga says, it's still a very small object at that distance as it is, just big for a comet. No, Only Amiga, Tessa's right. This object passed very close to Mars, comparatively very close. I can't remember the exact distance, but I think it's the closest encounter of all the close encounters and flybys, it was with, I think, 29 million I think it was 29 or 49 million miles of Mars. Therefore, the high-rise camera on the Mars Global Surveyor should have got a better view of it than it did. We were promised 30 kilometers per pixel. Well, that clearly is something much lower than that. And Tessa says to Amiga, if it's a comet, haha, yeah, exactly. Is it a comet? Yeah. Dave Langston says on NASA, these were four car salespeople talking to people as if they are 3 years old. Yes, basically. They really think we're stupid. They really, really do. They're really pathetic. And Only Amiga says here on NASA on 3i Atlas. There you have it. It's a comet, and we all know. However, you're disappointed because they did not say what you wanted them to say. It shows your desperation to want to believe in ETs. It really is a religion to you. Why on earth would you propose it's ET when there's absolutely no reason to suggest so? I say respectfully that you'd benefit from a professional psychiatrist. It's really not a good way to go through life like this. You're like Linda Moulton Howe. Where there's a moving light in the sky, it must be ET, folks. Or Only Amiga. Are you sure you're not a BBC Model B guy? This is a reference to 80s computers, by the way. 80s PCs and the golden age of the early PC era. Right. You missed the point I made in this video completely. You are saying, there you have it, it's a comet. NASA just said so in this press conference, while I'm explaining to you why the information in that press conference must be bogus. And then you deliver a whole load of rhetoric here. It showed desperation, religion, telling you what you want to hear, and etc. Then you go then you descend into the level of personal attacks. You benefit from a professional psychiatrist. You're like Linda Moulton Howe. Well, that's actually a compliment because I love Linda. She's great. She says, when there's a moving light in the sky, it must be ETs. Linda Moulton Howe doesn't talk like that. And Joshua says here on James' Confession live stream, James looks like someone I know. Oh, really? Yeah, he does look like he looks like that guy who used to be in that children's program, doesn't he? What was it? Rent-A-Ghost. He looks like Mr. Claypole in Rent-A-Ghost. All he needs is the jester's hat. I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember that, but he looks like that guy. NASA on 3i Atlas, lab-based. Oh, here we go. Personally, I think folks got too bombarded with "it's aliens" nonsense from the AI videos on social media. Well, hang on, I'll just read all of this first. Compounded by Avi Loeb, who was just as bad with his speculation and blatant lies. If you think NASA are lying, then maybe take a deeper dive into Avi Loeb's claim in the light of the actual data he's been speculating on to convince people of anomalies when there are no such things in all cases. Probably the most thorough takedown for all these 4 non-astronomers and folks without the time and dedication to research and read through all the observations of 3i Atlas is by Professor Dave Explains in his recent Avi Loeb is a Fraud Part 2 3i Atlas Shrugged video on YouTube. It's a hard watch due to his obvious venom, but accurate and honest. Okay, right, the "it's aliens" nonsense from AI videos on social media, I completely agree with you on. Some of them were absurd. Some of them were saying 3i Atlas is giving off Fibonacci numbers in binary code and all kinds of bollocks like that. All right, I know that there's some really stupid ones on there, but you say compounded by Avi Loeb, who's just as bad with his speculators and blatant lies. Okay, it wasn't compounded by Avi. Avi's community was speaking out against that, including me. And Avi did not contribute to those videos at all. And you say speculation and blatant lies. No, it's conjecture and honesty. He's not lied about anything. And I'm going to tackle the Professor Dave thing in a minute. And you go on to the actual data he's been sent. Let's go on. Professor Dave Explains. I've not seen Part 2. Hang on. I've seen Part 1. I've seen Part 1 of his attack on Avi. Let's have a look at Part 2 then. I'm not going to play it, but I'm just going to have a look at it because I will watch it. And you're right about his venom. It's hard reading because of his venom, and there was a huge amount of venom there. Where is it? Oh, here we are. Avi Loeb is a Fraud Part 2, 3i Atlas Shrugged. Okay, I've seen Part 1. I'll watch Part 2. But you know, if Part 2 is anything like Part 1, then I wasn't impressed with it. There were people in the comment sections were saying, and they were explaining to Avi. They're explaining to Professor Dave exactly where he got it wrong with Avi. Also, Avi Loeb has done debates with skeptics, not Professor Dave, but he's done debates with skeptics like Michael Shermer and others, defending his position. And the venom is an understatement. I mean, the venom from Professor Dave is extraordinary, not just to Avi, but people like Ashton Forbes. What he said in Part 1 was completely inaccurate. I've not seen Part 2. But, you know, if it's as bad as Part 1, then it won't be accurate. But we'll see. I'll let you know. Definitely, I'll let you know. 69 Phuket on NASA. Hairdryer, room heater. Extraordinary. I've never wanted to go to Bicester. Right. Well, there's not a lot to see in Bicester, to be honest. 69 Phuket. They used to have quite good pubs in there, but not anymore. But that was actually quite a luxurious room, wasn't it? Yeah. Definitely was. Over the Moon says, "Oh, this is the end." This is the top one. Over the Moon says here on NASA on 3i Atlas, incredible analysis, mind-blowing. I'm truly inspired by this level of scientific rigor. I mean, if I don't personally understand what a comet from another star system is doing, brackets, even though all the space agencies and telescope agree on what it is, close brackets, then the only logical conclusion is obviously advanced alien technology. Forget Occam's razor. We're going straight for the alien flying saucer. If it's weird, it's ET. Thank you for cutting through all that boring, complicated astronomy and giving us the truth. We've all been duped by a big telescope. P.S. Maybe the I in 3-Hour Atlas stands for invading. Just a thought. Stay woke, alien face. Okay. As you probably guessed, Over the Moon is being sarcastic here. And this, and also to translate this, okay, what he's saying here is the only logical conclusion we can make, all right, because it's a comet from another star system, very old, and therefore, because it's not doing what normal comets do, it must be aliens, right? Have I ever said that? Have I ever said that? What did I just say to lab-based? Who's misrepresented? I mean, I don't know what Professor Dave says, but you know, if you actually look at what Avi Loeb said, I didn't say this. Convince people of anomalies. Avi Loeb is only 40% sure it's artificial. He's 60% sure. In other words, he has a 60% view that it's actually natural. But why lab-based here has not actually presented? Again, he's polarized and marginalized. And now Over the Moon is doing exactly the same, and this is exactly what I predicted they would do. Because it's not doing what normal comets do, because it's very old and from another star system, the only logical conclusion is it's advanced alien technology. So 4 out of 10 on the Loeb scale means the only logical conclusion, apparently, according to this skeptic polarization from Over the Moon. Forget Occam's razor, we're going straight for the alien flying saucer. Yes, those are Avi's exact words, wasn't he? Avi Loeb came onto News Nation and he says, I am 100% sure it's a flying saucer. I'm giving it 10 out of 10 on the Loeb scale. Did he say those words? Yeah, I'm going to be sarcastic with you, Over the Moon. He said that, didn't he? He said that. He said those very words. We've got him on record saying he's 100% sure it's aliens, yes. So, yes, it looks like you are an agent of, what is it, a big James Randi laboratory. Yeah. As for the invading thing, I've covered that previously. I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared that if it turns out to be artificial, I'm not actually scared that it's going to invade and destroy us all. I know a lot of people will be. Even Avi has, I think, wrongly overstressed the threat narrative. Yeah. If there was a threat, and indeed there are instances of extraterrestrial being threatening to us, then it would be a very simple matter, I think. To deal with this beforehand, because let's face it, 3-Eye Atlas is not the first interstellar object we've seen. In fact, we see them all the time. They're not out in space. They're here on Earth. They have been for thousands of years, maybe longer. And well, despite the damage they do, you know, I don't lose any sleep at night because of that. So what difference does one more UFO make? And that was anyway, Over the Moon, that was your sarcasm is hilarious, and that was a very entertaining comment, which I've been able to do an awful lot of analysis on. So anyway, that's the end of my feed. Now let's just do a quick refresh and let's just see what people have been posting since I began filming. So let's have a look here. Let's have a look. All right. Only Amiga has commented on what this is while I've been recording this. Which is Only Amiga has commented on reply to comments 119, which is, this woman doesn't know the meaning of the word frequency, typical new age nonsense. Well, I don't exactly know who you're talking about, if this is some kind of reply. And Alan McBride, that was 3 weeks ago. Okay, so that's the only comment I've had, I think. I'm just going to do a quick refresh of this, and I'm going to see what happens if I sort it by newest first and see what happens. Let's have a look. Oh, and it's only Amiga there, and I've replied to that. Okay, so that's the end. That's the end. That's not the end of this. The end of this particular reply to comments video 120 YouTube only. So if you're watching this on YouTube, that is the end. And if you insist only on watching me on YouTube, this is going to be the end of this particular video. However, if you're watching me on Alt Tech and you've done the sensible thing and you've gone over there and subscribed and you've started watching, there is the Alt Tech Annex coming soon. This is the part of the video in which I deal with my comments from the Alt Tech sites, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, which are too racy for YouTube. They're too racy for YouTube. I'll also check TikTok as well. I haven't checked TikTok. I'll do that now, actually, just quickly. I should have done that actually. Have I got any comments on TikTok? Let's have a look. I don't upload much to TikTok, and TikTok is very censorious as well, so I don't use it very much. But let's have a look here. If it'll load. What's this here? Oh, I've got 4 activity. Here we have activity 4 notifications. That's on one thing. Lily Puppy Rescue. Oh, well, I've got a few things here. Hang on. All right. Okay. Dark Corners Beyond commented here on Charlie Veitch. This is my Charlie Veitch comes to Oxford, and Dark Corners Beyond said, "Excellent parody, Ben." Hopefully you can see this. Excellent parody. I say thanks, DCB. And then Lily Puppy Rescue commented on Michael. Oh right, sorry, that's a channel. That's a nice channel. Lily Puppy Rescue. Oh, just commented with a smiley face there. Okay, and then Lily Puppy Rescue said this on
Conspiracies gather.
Okay. Oh right. This is just and I'll put a smiley. You can't actually paste comments onto TikTok, which is annoying. So I'll put a smiley face on there, like that. There we go. And Lily Puppy Rescue says, "Ben, you are very intelligent. Want to walk, Lily?" And I'll say, "Hi, Lily." Hi. Thanks. I love walking dogs. I love walking dogs. Doing a reply to comments video. On YouTube. There we go. Well, thanks, Lily Puppy Rescue, for that. Is that her name, Lily? Oh, that's nice. Okay. And now I'll go back. There's one more bit of activity here, and it's Lily Puppy Rescue says on Charlie Kirk assassination. Charlie Kirk killed. Says here. Do you think the whole thing was a psyop? Oh, Slacks has published an article here. I'll say no. No. Unlikely. All right. And Slacks has said here. What does he say here? Oh, hi. I hope you're well, Ben. I was unfortunate enough to have innocently clicked on a video hoping for information about Charlie Kirk's assassination and witnessed a close-up video of his murder, and like you, I was appalled and completely freaked out by what I saw. In a traditional sense, I'm a very left-wing person, but the modern left is so repellent that I would I would never refer to myself as having left-wing views, because the current abomination masquerading as left-wing politics is as grotesque as it is insane. My heart broke for Charlie's wife and children. Have even had arguments with people I've known a lifetime over having publicly shared my sympathies on social media with this SS and nation, and have naturally been hit with Hitler comparisons. I can't believe what people choose to believe and what they choose to ignore this day and age, when freedom of information is historically so readily available. Ignorance is a choice in 2025, and I can't pretend to tolerate anymore. And I'll say, I share your feelings. Slackser. I'll just call him mate here. I'm not bad. Hope you're well too. Hope you're okay too. I do wish TikTok would allow me to post like cut and paste things, because then I could say I'm doing a reply to comments videos, but Slackser will probably see this anyway. There we go. I'll put Lily. When it comes to Lily, I'll actually put a heart on her. I'll put a heart emoji.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups,
Heart emojis.
Earth mysteries,
Okay, that's
cryptids.
Hospital Porter's pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to her.
Sherma loses the NBA. Okay, so that's that is their TikTok done. Okay, so I didn't forget TikTok this time around. Okay, so yeah, now if you want any more and you're listening, please go to Alt Tech, because this YouTube version will be available on all my platforms. So you may be watching this on Alt Tech. If you're on Alt Tech, then just check my channel for the Alt Tech exclusive. If you're on YouTube, you have to go to those channels. It's Ben the JR Porter on all those channels. So on all those platforms. So go to those channels there. Obviously, if it wasn't for you guys watching and commenting, this video wouldn't happen. So I want to just say thank you to all of you. The video, all your comments are great. Even some of the silly ones were amusing. Thank you very much to those. Even some of the really scathing ones have given me a chance to present some education for myself and for my viewers. So thank you to all the skeptics as well who have commented. Much appreciate you there. So I think that's it now. Well, someone's just put a comment on here. What's this? Oh, it's just the angry astronaut. Oh, the angry astronaut's uploaded. Oh, Steve mumbling. I'm going to piss you off by going and watching him when I finish this. I've still got the Old Tech exclusive to do. And I've got to do a recording this evening as well with Neil Peel, the Paranormal Peep Show. But in the meantime, thank you all of you for watching HPANWO TV. There's more coming soon. The Lapis video, I'll upload it at some point. The Age of Disclosure, I'm going to do the review and live stream. It's all coming up and as soon as I can. All right. But thank you all of you for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.
Conspiracies, government cover-ups, Earth mysteries, monster cryptids, psyops, saucers and black triangles, HPANWO.